Hello.
Oh, hey, we are here.
All right.
You know he doesn't start with audio first.
Cool. Slide into my.
This is the social
seat.
eating corner over here, so don't mind us.
Social eating side of the room.
Yep.
Well, us, I mean me.
Right.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, hey, that's right. You got food.
Oh, we're on
I'm just
opposite
paying
sides
attention to
now.
people other than myself.
Hey there. What? Are we?
Okay.
Is it weird?
What, the
that's
camera's
right.
being weird?
That's
No. It used to be that me and Ben were like right next to each other.
Oh yeah, so we can go high
High
five.
five, but now we can't.
What have you done?
Yeah, you totally flipped it back because they flipped at one point.
Well, you all go fuck yourself. Anyway, so, hey everybody, I'm Soul Rose. These are my friends, unfortunately.
Boy.
Welcome back to our continuing game of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Hey, how's everybody doing? Everybody doing alright? Everybody
yeah.
keeping the dream, keeping it real?
Everybody.
Loving life. Alright, so some quick announcements. There is a new follower Discord. It is currently posted on the front page on the channel, so if you are interested in joining a Discord with all the people that watch, feel free to do so. I am on there. You can find me. It is in the works. There are some bots coming in and some other stuff that I'm working on, so bear with me as it slowly gets bigger and more expansive. There is a role-playing section. Rocco asked me about that for people to text-based roleplay.
Nice.
So,
Like fun roleplay or like kinky roleplay?
definitely not kinky roleplay.
I'm just
That's
checking. I'm just checking.
It's going to be in the terms of service. It's going to be outlaw that one right away.
Don't kink shame me, bro.
I'm not kink shaming you. I'm just saying move
Don't
it to
do it
PM.
here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Hey,
but what
you
if
can
that's
do
a group?
Oh, you can actually group message on Discord,
I-
so you're solid,
Well, the trick is you just make
They
your
won't
own
be after
Discord
that.
server.
right? Make your own Discord server and call it kink shame, and then go from there.
Kink pride?
Shame pride?
All right. So with that being said, you can find that under the about section of the channel. So feel free to check that out. The ranks have been reinstated on Discord, so as people watch, they can gain ranks again. I had to like reprogramming it all in, and now there is an exclamation point giveaway as well as an exclamation point class. And if you type an exclamation point class, you'll get everyone's class in order, and it specifies from the right all the way down to the left. It'll give you everyone's information. There is a fairly long cooldown on it due to the fact that it takes up a considerable amount of space, as you can see, as I was testing it earlier. But yeah,
They can't see that if they just joined the chat.
that's fine. It takes a while. So exclamation point class if you're interested in finding out what everybody's playing, what they're doing, all that jazz. We are doing a D&D related giveaway at 200 followers or 10 subs, whichever one comes first. We are definitely pretty close to one. And it's not followers. So if that's your thing, do that thing.
He's talking about subs.
Yes, I am. The ambrosia of the day is going to be misfortune. For 200 biddies, you can grant a player of choice a -1d4 to roll, to an attack roll ability check of your choice or of my choice. You just hand it to me, and I'll just throw it at everybody for funsies.
Everybody?
Yeah.
You can give it to a monster.
You can give it to me. You can give me misfortune if you want. My monster and/or NPC fails a check due to silliness. It's fine. I think that's everything. That's all the major chat-related, thing-related.
Earlier is causing him to have massive
Turn this
reflux.
down. We had a successful monster hunt.
Yes.
We
Fish.
killed all sorts of things except a Nergigante, but we killed a devil pickle. So I feel like we vindicated ourselves at the very end.
We said, fuck this low-level monster. Let's go for the big.
Let's go for the big one.
And we learned you can capture him.
We did learn that you can capture him. I did not expect that. You know what? I think though that Savage, you can. I don't think
We'll
he's
find out.
Well, that's if they
Red
ever bring
Savage?
him out.
if they bring him. Savage, David Joe.
Oh.
When he gets mad, he sets on fire because apparently that was a good idea.
Fred Savage
Yeah.
does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fun though.
Yeah.
He looks at you wrong and you die. And he's one of my favorite monsters. So much fun to fight.
He is probably one of the ugliest fucking monsters.
He's probably my favorite monster to fight, and this is going to sound weird. It's not going to sound weird. It makes total sense. But you remember the very first time I ever killed Savage Devi Joe? I got every item I needed to make his armor. So I didn't have to fight him again. I only had to do it the once.
Perfect.
So that was just the greatest,
Yeah.
end thing.
And it
Then he
never
went and fought it
happened
with
again.
me, and it took me about 60 tries.
Yeah, 60 tries to
generally
get the
call
fucking
that
thing.
a video game as opposed to an MMO. When you fight a monster and get everything you need from it the first
Yeah,
time.
the first time, right? Fucking.
Well,
Well, it's like
counterpoint.
fucking Cadius beard. That bullshit.
You break his beard every time. He never once drops a beard. How does that make sense? Break Rajang's horns. He doesn't drop a horn.
Yeah,
How does that
because
fucking
you got
work?
Savage Devi Joe on your
Welcome
first
to our
try.
monster
Yeah.
hunter. show.
This makes
Listen,
so
just
much
because you're a
sense to me.
sinner and don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
speaking of cults, we were talking about this earlier. We call it a Monster Hunter cult.
Yeah.
You just don't understand our ways.
You don't know.
So, with that being said, anybody else got anything?
I'm already part of one cult, so I can't join another
Oh,
one.
wow.
Oh, is that how
For
They have
those
they
of
have-
you that aren't in the
Is there a
sub Discord, there is something very big in the works. Has been primed and is getting ready to be painted.
It's on the Discord.
Subs get access to the sub on Discord.
And if you'd
Where
like
we
to
hang
see,
out.
you should fucking sub.
Do it. Do it.
Unless
You
you
can see
can't.
cool things like
It's
this
about this big.
I'm
Or
not gonna
don't,
show that
and
thing.
we'll just talk about it when it comes out and you'll see it on these cameras during one of the
About that
streams.
big.
Yeah.
Because we won't be able to not show it off. It's too much detail. It's too much.
It's too much. I
It
can't.
comes
even-
with candles this big,
Yeah, but
separately packaged for you to
Don't
paint.
tell them that.
No, it's a secret. No.
Keep it
So,
secret, keep it
last minute things. Anybody else?
secret.
No?
Was
Good?
a bitch.
You good?
It wasn't made like that.
You good?
Han Solo
No,
shot
they were
first.
sharp as dicks.
He did.
Oh, no.
He did. Good? Good? Why no? We're gonna jump into the recap.
And then
Otherwise,
Samwise bricks in his mouth.
that's on my fanfic one. That's the fanfic one comes after this
We
game.
still need a
Sorry.
fanfic section in Discord.
Oh
No,
my
no, no.
god! I don't know
We
if we
do.
do.
Please, no.
I'm in.
We do.
I'm kind of in.
If you're
Then I
not
can just
going to
post
allow
all the
sex
weird
chat,
drawings
Yeah, no.
of everything that
Oh,
everybody's got
that's
weird little
Andy's
fan
turning
stories.
point. Like, you can't have fanfiction unless you have the sex chat.
because they're the same thing.
Kind of.
I've
Why
read
do
a
you need
couple.
both?
One's unresponsive. though.
I've read a couple. It gets responses.
I don't
And
want
they
to
really
respond
want
to anything with me in it.
I'm pretty sure like fan fiction is just two complete strangers on the internet's attempts to alienate each other.
Fair enough.
Until eventually someone stops responding and they go, alright, that was fun. I'm going to find somebody else to screw with.
So the party survived their first true encounter with the lizard man and their scaled legion.
Hi, Huso.
Whoa, Huso, thanks so much for the sub, buddy. I will throw you the Discord. Subs. I will send you the thing, buddy, as soon as we get out of here.
You wanna
Thanks,
go on break?
buddy. Yeah, at the break, I'll shoot you a message with the information. So, party survived its first encounter with the lizardmen and their scaled legion. The party lost Elvin during the battle and managed to turn the black scale lizardman to stone before mutilating it and then retreating towards Galloren.
That's a harsh word.
That's what you did.
It's
That's
what we
exactly
did.
what you did.
That's what
The
we
party
want.
traveled 8 days towards Galloren and encountered wildlife along the way. They killed elk to get some food, they captured a boar for Zongak, and the second to last day of their journey, the party happened upon 2 griffins loitering in the trees. With some lucky stealth rolls and some even luckier animal handling checks, Lucrezia managed to earn the trust of one griffin that elected not to fly away. After feeding it several elk steaks, our story continues. So, that is where we left off. You left off amidst throwing the secondary. You got bitten again, but you had fed it twice. It seems to be...
The little hearts come out of it when I did that.
No.
Hungry for more flesh.
Yeah, it's actually just getting a taste of people's
You know,
flesh.
when you said loitering, I just pictured them sitting there like
Yeah,
smoking a
like
cigarette outside
dirtbag
of a fucking
griffins. Yeah.
outside of a fucking quickie.
Yeah, like sitting on that that parking spot thing.
Yeah.
That cement thing.
What's going on, Yuso? So, as you stand there, it just kind of like does that
Listen to
like
wild
that
horses.
prancing. It's in like one spot, but it's sidestepping back and forth, kind of like staring at you. Its head sways, kind of like these long arcs, as it just kind of like just menaces you, I guess.
What?
Is the best way to put that.
What should I do?
It's like a dog when you have food in your hand.
Right.
Still, is it-
But-
mm,
Something like, what, 10 times, 15 times bigger than
no,
a dog?
No, it's not that big.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think I went over there.
It's quite large.
No, Ma was close to me, but.
I think I watched you guys go off after griffins and I went, that sounds stupid.
That is what happened.
Oh, 3 steaks. Okay. I've given it 3 steaks so far.
2.
2 and 1 of moth. So 3.
So what are you doing? It kind of prances and stares at you.
How many steaks did we get from that? Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how many steaks we got from the elk.
Give it another one.
Enough for
Well, I want to make sure I didn't
basically.
give them all of them.
It was
Why not?
basically 2 for
No,
everybody.
like, I'm like, I don't want to reach into my bag and be like, oh, there's nothing there, so I'm trying to make sure.
It was 2 days worth of food for everyone. From all the elks.
So about 2,000 calories.
So about 2 pounds. I think you have to eat a pound of food a day or some shit like that in this game.
Okay.
And a half-pound steak is an okay sized steak.
Yeah,
I think,
that'd be a big
I
one.
think I have like
No,
a
not really.
piece of steak.
Think about it in burger sense. Half-pound burger.
Yeah, that's
Four-pound
true.
burger.
Yeah, 'cause Maul gave you one of his,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so you should
So
have one left.
So I'm gonna do the last one.
You gonna give it the last one?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make an animal handling check, please. At advantage.
Hey, that's good advantage.
17.
What is your armor class?
17.
17. It's going to nip you again.
Damn it!
No.
I'm gonna die to this griffin just slowly.
Worth.
What's in my hand?
You take 5 points of piercing damage as you go to reach out, and it expectantly kind of snatches this extra piece of meat. But it seems to just hang out now. It's kind of like staring at you.
You speak Griffin?
You wanna?
I think that she checked.
Wait, let me check my
Well,
character sheet.
I don't know if I want to like wait for the other one or if I want to try to like take this one back.
Okay. I'm not there.
What are you doing?
I'll pull out like a ration.
Okay.
I'll try to start luring it back.
Luring it back.
Yeah.
All right, make an animal handling check, please.
Okay. That's a natural one. +2.
Natural one. As you produce this this dried sort of like meat ration, it kind of like perks towards it. Its head levels towards you. You can hear the little sniffing before it kind of like just like rah, and like pulls back away.
No, like.
Just like tilting its head. It seems confused. It doesn't seem to understand what you're trying to do.
Does anyone have any other steaks?
Yeah,
I think you
you're.
guys
How far
have
away are you?
ones
Are you
right
there
there.
still, Mom? Oh. So long answer. Then I wanna go. I'll like kind of scoot back towards you slowly. Like I'll still be facing the griffin and like have my hands like flat out. But I'll back up toward Maul.
Make an animal handling check, please.
Oh God. Trust that dice anymore.
Shouldn't trust that one either.
7.
7. As you back up, it just kind of like it like gets taller. It's like shoulders level out, and it kind of takes its full head. It just kind of like just seems to watch you as you back away from it.
Yeah, I want to get toward Maul and like whenever I get to him, I'll like reach back and like.
What?
David, I need a steak. I need some food.
I think we all kind of need food, Lou, but I don't have any more.
Where'd all yours go?
Well, one's in that, and the other one's in me.
You want any more? Like extra food?
You guys have any extra food?
Yeah.
Are there?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But
Right,
I'm
everybody
sharing it
eats
with
it.
Ham Hock.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's got one.
Also that and brains.
Raw came.
I don't think they can see me. I think I still do.
Did you?
I think so.
Make a check.
See, I thought you.
Because I don't remember. I don't remember what it was.
I think
I
I
thought-
just pulled up next to him all.
I thought you came up and you were just kind of like standing back watching us fucking die.
Never mind.
Not
I am
good.
very obviously there.
He
I
sneaks
got
up.
Standing up.
Wearing hands on his feet.
Pushing grass out of the way.
Right.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through.
Stub your toe for a minute. Ah. All right. Yeah.
Same size.
So much dirt out
That
here.
toe is there.
Do you have any steaks?
Yeah, sure, of course, I've got one.
Can I have one, please?
For what?
The griffin. At this point, it's probably going to like
To get full
Lou.
and leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna just give the steak to me. I'll give it to Lou, so that way we're not moving a lot, and then she can feed it, and then maybe it'll stay.
Hi, cat butt.
You
I
wait
mean,
to
alright,
it.
I only got
It's
one
just kind of
left.
like prancing now in place,
Alright.
like antsy.
Lou.
Seeing as how we're not being planned anymore.
I'll like reach back because I still am facing it, so I'll just like reach back until I feel a steak.
I will just reach back. I'll give it to you.
Okay, I reach back. I'm still trying to like feel around them.
It's a knife.
That's way slow.
It stabs me in the hand.
That was a different game.
Yeah.
Different steak.
Steak. All right, steak.
As you produce it, you see it kind of like,
Huh. Tube steak.
and then it begins kind of like moving forward a little bit. It does that, it moves forward, but then it kind of like takes a couple steps back into the side. It just kind of like moves
Lou.
around.
Tear it in half. Give it half for coming over, and then we'll start backing up.
Okay. I'll take my
Probably
back
also
out.
try to introduce
Okay.
a name in there somewhere.
I'll get a little closer again, like meet it halfway.
Okay. Make a check with advantage, please.
Pick 2.
We really need some more steak.
Pick 2. Take the higher.
16.
16. As you approach, you kind of like meet it halfway. It begins kind of moving forward, and then it bites it. Just kind of like,
Does it bite me?
nope, flips it up a couple times, and then
Play with it?
swallows it.
Okay.
It's that weird
Birds don't have
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will.
And then it's like upper half kind of shakes.
Then I'll take the other half of my clothes out, and I'll start backing up toward camp, really slowly.
It begins to follow you, confused. It's not rolling well.
What's this rolling?
That's the hunger.
See how smart it is.
Aw.
It's not doing so hot. So it begins to kind of.
Dumb bird.
It begins
Okay.
to.
This means it's harder to train.
It begins to kind of move closer to you.
And as we're going, I'll be like, here, kitty, 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 kitty,
The griffin named Kitty. I like it.
All right.
kitty.
So you guys back up all the way to the caravan, to the surprise and gasp of a couple of your traveling compatriots who instinctively reach for weapons but don't draw. It's kind of like that. Oh,
Yeah.
what the hell? And they see you just kind of like leading it.
Is that a griffin?
Beryl seems quite surprised.
Is it dangerous?
It can be, but you can tame them.
How do you tame one?
I'm working on it.
Are you sure that's going to work?
I mean, it got it back to camp and it's a wild animal.
It followed food to a place where there's prospectively more food.
It could have flown away,
There's a lot. Yeah, it could have, but then you gave it food.
but also didn't know there was going to be food here.
Now it's surprised.
Well,
I don't see how this is better.
it's here. That's the point.
Okay, I'm gonna get my bow ready with an arrow.
Just in case we...
Everyone, relax.
I'm not aiming at anything. I'm just getting
yeah.
it strong. And
This is Kitty the Griffin.
This
Kitty,
thing.
kitty.
I thought it was cat butt.
Kitty, Mr. Kitty Kitty, Mr. Kitty, just Kitty the Griffin. I'm not calling it Kitty Kitty. It can be fucking Kitty first name,
Hey,
Kitty
that's
last
good.
name. But Kitty the Griffin.
I'm gonna put myself between the griffin and the burrow.
As you keep saying kitty, it's like head's like it's like tilting.
I'll tell my head to it.
Have you touched it yet?
I'm working up to it.
But it's already touched you like 6 times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna test my bow. Make sure it's good.
It's a solid.
Alright, and then I
Kin
will
recommended that bow. It's a solid bow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I
Doesn't even
will
make sounds.
very, very, very slowly
Neither do I.
start like getting
'Cause my
near
shoes.
it with the meat out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have like the other hand.
Okay, make an animal handling check at advantage, please.
That's not great.
13.
13. As you approach, it kind of like pulls back, and then it brings its 2 like hands off the ground a little bit, and its arms come with these like large talons that are pretty much the size of like your face and upper neck area, and it's just kind of like wings beat out for a minute, and then it like lands.
Okay. But it's not like being aggressive.
It didn't attack you.
It
Okay.
didn't attack you.
Yeah. I'll find a word. I'll try to get.
Have you tried sitting down and being non-threatening?
I feel like I'm being non-threatening.
I mean, you're shoving dead
Well,
animal in space.
If I don't want to be like super non-threatening, then it eats me. Like.
It's like, oh sweet, you're here
Yeah.
too. Oh.
Yeah. I'll get like lower when he says
Oh, my
that,
second favorite food.
but I'll still get like I'm still trying to get closer to it, like super slow.
Okay, make an animal handling check at advantage.
Try talking to it soothingly.
Yeah, the whole time I'm making like those sounds.
You're like cooing at it.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
that's
think
a little
kitty?
bit better.
Just saying coo coo choo.
14.
Kitty kitty.
As you kind of keep getting close to it, it begins to look at you, looks at you, looks kind of like back and forth, and it's like,
Like really.
and then
Like,
you see it kind of like, it takes a couple big gallops
oh,
and goes skyward.
No. Scared away. I'll drop the meat on the ground.
That was a waste of meat. I've never,
It seems to be circling above.
I've never dealt much with wild animals, but I know people who have, and
Hey,
typically
Lou.
you
Throw
want
it
to
in the
let the
air.
wild
Okay.
animal approach
Lou.
you.
I'll reach down
Why don't you get away from everybody?
and okay, a lot of advice at once. Anyway, pick up the piece of meat. I'll go back toward the forest a little bit more, and I'll wave the meat. So, see if it's
What are you guys
seeing
doing?
me.
Watching this.
Yeah.
At this
Watching
point,
this.
I've lost.
I am paying very close attention to the griffin. And just
Actually, no. You know what? I'm gonna go find some more food.
Okay, go ahead and make
I'll
a survival
accompany
check,
him.
please.
I'll accompany him.
'Kay.
We need more.
Oh,
food.
could you give me some grubs?
You make it an advantage since you have somebody with you.
Yes.
Please do advantage. You have the survival stuff. I don't. Okay. Well,
It's not very good.
I already had the roll.
Also vegetables.
My roll was an 11.
That's gonna be a 12.
12. You can only find enough food for yourself.
Oh, shit.
I will
Um,
find some grubs and return with
Okay.
them for Zongak.
You just give your 1 day's meal to Zongak.
Yep.
All right. So the
I think I'm looking something.
they look vertically stretched on the tablet. Yeah, I think one of them is stretched weird. The
Oh
player
yeah,
cams.
because the aspect ratio on the screen's not quite right, so it gets fucky.
What are you doing?
They're just really tall people, I swear.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's what it is.
It's very
I'm sorry.
similar. I had an episode
Um,
like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where I was stretched like
just
taffy.
just kept getting taller. You notice that the griffin seems to be encircling up above, and it's keeping its eye on you, but it's not getting any closer. After a few moments, you guys kind of like moving off. Lucrezia is attempting to get the griffin's attention. It seems to maintain a closeness, but it's not coming in yet.
Eventually I'll throw the meat up in the air. Okay, well I'll pick that meat up and then go.
And take it with you.
I would like to go look for food too, but obviously I didn't go with them.
Okay, go ahead and make a survival check. Not advantage because
No.
you're by yourself. But you guys, I'm assuming, are going to continue.
Yes.
Okay. You do know that this
I'm
is
just sticking with barrel.
the last
Natural 20.
natural 20. You can find enough food for everyone if you spend the remainder of the day doing this.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. So, bringing her food with her, she heads off. Okay, you guys stay close to Beryl. You do know that today is day 8, which means at the end of today you'll be reaching the city of Galloren.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we kind of skipped over a lot of that travel.
Yeah.
For good reason. Just because there was nothing going on. Let me get my notes out for the specific areas. All right, anything that you guys would like to do during the day, specifically? Is anybody...
Just the last day. I want to look for water this time.
Look for water. I will say that you've already used your thing to look for food.
Oh, that's
that does.
okay.
It counts for the whole day. Huh?
If you're foraging, aren't you looking for both?
Yes.
So, okay. Well then I will have gotten water too.
Yeah. So the water is accompanied with that.
Oh, okay.
She
We were
just
going
got some
to.
really juicy fruit, and when you eat it, it hydrates
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's just
Dunzo.
cactus fruit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take half of my meal.
Yeah.
We were doing it separately.
Ah, the Savannah cactus, of course.
You've actually been kind of marching through like, what is it? Savannah almost. Yeah.
That's what I said, the Savannah cactus.
Yeah, but or is it
Georgia?
taiga? It's that in between forest and grassland that exists.
Scrubland.
Well, it's the most common biome in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking it up the other day because I was trying to figure out what that's called when you're in between the two.
We didn't figure it out.
Yeah, it's a savanna or
Well,
taiga are
Minecraft
two
is
different.
not a lot.
I know you.
Right, it
that's
just
the reason
walk-
I did. You'll know.
Desert,
Desert,
snow,
yeah.
right? Like, that's it.
That's how that works, right?
So that's kind of what you've been in. You've been since you've been avoiding most of the Orendor forest, you've been kind of going through this middle ground where there's more trees around, and hence where the griffins came from, and the increased sightings of wild animals. So you guys continue throughout the day. Lucrezia goes looking for water. Make a perception check, please.
Or is this the next day?
This is day 8.
Okay.
This is you were doing all
I
that in
have
the
it-
morning.
I don't have it as day. I have it as like day 26, day 27.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
It's the same day.
I think he's talking about when we veered off.
He said do a person.
He read
Yeah.
Yes, please.
the totals for that. Hey, not bad. And I'm posted up
15.
on the cart,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just
Stop showing.
keeping my eyes open.
You notice the griffin seems to be following above.
He's gonna kill so many people in that city. You know what gnomes are like to a griffin? They're snacks. I'll be telling you this while I'm looking out for enemies as I see it circling us.
Galloren's not the gnome one. That's Humblewood.
Oh.
That's the gnomes.
That was the original.
Hopefully you leave them.
What are you guys doing? So you guys are foraging. What are you doing?
I'm gonna take the food and grubs that I have. I'm gonna turn the grubs into gravy,
Okay.
into the skull, and then all the other food I'm gonna stuff half of it in there. And give it to Ham Hock.
Aw.
Okay. I'm assuming you're the one dragging him,
Yeah.
because he's just not having it.
Oh.
It's basically like anytime you like move him, he just wigs out,
No.
and then
Hammer.
as you like
Just
pull him,
wait.
he's just like.
And then pull him again.
Yeah.
It's not going well.
Go ahead and make an animal handling check, please, for me.
I actually looked up what fucking pigs eat.
Anything.
Everything.
Yeah. Give it a
Not
kick.
everything. Anything.
That didn't even roll.
That's not-
That is a 7.
7. Yeah, he seems
Get my
fucking
email, stop giving me Twitter.
just not having it right now.
I'm gonna punch him right in the face.
Okay, make an attack roll.
And then if you have an Android, remind me on the
Bad Ham Hock.
That, of
There's a
course.
special place you can go.
That is a plus my strength is
Is that what it's doing?
as a 23.
Hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
No, I have
1
Yeah.
plus your strength modifier. Unless you have proficiency in fisticuffs.
What do we want?
Oh.
No, he has proficiency,
Are
I
you
think.
fighting that thing?
Yeah, I have claws and fucking
He
teeth.
punched it in the mouth.
Yeah, I did.
Do you want to use?
I did 8 damage,
Not-
Alright, 8 damage. Let me get that.
and I'm just gonna say bad.
Oh god.
It's just like.
And then when I pull it, and if it starts moving nicely, I pat it.
If it fucks up too much, we just speak to the girl.
No,
Wow, what a
I'm
monster.
going to eat it.
Wow.
I'm gonna eat it. Alright, so.
Steak and new boots.
You guys continue moving, so that's what you're doing. What are you doing? You're staying close to Biro.
Staying on that cart.
What are
Keep
you
an eye out.
There's no cart.
Raiding Lou over here. For
There's no
spicy
cart.
Griffins.
You guys have been. There's no cart. You guys have been walking.
What are we doing?
Heading towards the city.
No, yeah, no, but I mean, like,
He's
what
gonna
are
be
we?
cockeyed.
Are we moving? Just traveling?
Yeah, you're traveling. You're
Okay.
heading
I didn't know if we
towards.
were fucking off.
Yours is done. So you are doing what now?
I'm sitting on top of the cart.
There's no
berating. I'm sitting with Beryl. Oh, that's right, because
Yeah,
the
you're
cart got
right.
destroyed. Whatever. I'm sitting with Beryl
fuck.
and berating Lou for just offhandedly.
As
about
he's
the
doing
Griffin.
that, I'm just like staring at the griffin. Oh,
And I'm definitely keeping an eye on that Griffin as
Okay.
well. If it comes too close, I may have to murder it.
No.
The
I mean, you say that it's a predator.
the other gentlemen seem to keep their eyes open for any looming threats, but you guys managed to cross thing, and as the day passes, it's a average day. It's nice, sunny out.
I will say this, Lou. When we get close and you can see the town, I think you should stop there, and that way, that doesn't set the town off. We'll bring food and supplies out to you.
Okay.
Could you imagine if they just had like a ballista?
You should also probably find some food for it.
Well, I was working on that earlier, but I found food for it.
Okay, so as you guys continue walking, if the city, you can see it in the distance, becomes larger and larger in your view. From the distance, you notice that there are these wooden palisades that are built up and around the front of the city, and it seems to be set up in a sort of only the front half, where you can see there's like stonework clearly somewhere in the back, but you can't really get a good view on it.
Just one of those
However,
spike walls.
Oh.
yes, those are wooden spike walls. They seem to be pointed up and out, like towards. So the silhouette of the town is not far off. Overcast in the distance and outlined in the backdrop of the Iktasi Ocean. As you approach, you can see lining the roadway, tied to wooden posts, are the decaying bodies of humans, bound and long dead, bearing signs that outline their guilt. Thief, bandit, pirate adorn these signs. Warnings to any would-be criminals entering the realm of Galloren. As you get closer and closer, you can see high wooden palisades, some sparsely even point outwards in all directions, almost like this fortification that has basically like anti-cavalry, and then it has like slightly higher, and then it has like a three-tiered palisade. As the ground slopes up, basically what you're looking at is this like upward sloping terrain that basically ends in a cliff. And at the very far end, you can see this like very nice looking stone keep at the very top, and then it's obviously surrounded by wooden construction buildings. And this like beautiful, it's got stained woods and sort of like ornate stonework you can see in the far end of the city. No doubt the home of the Duke of Galloren, whom you heard, but you didn't really interact with at the party. So as night begins to fall, you find yourself getting
Okay.
No, that's Sin Hollow.
Yeah, I have it written down. I just didn't click back to it.
Yes. The Duke of Galloren was announced, but you guys didn't interact with him, so you didn't get his description. So you guys begin to approach, get closer, and as you do, you notice that there's a basically like a large drawbridge kind of door that is currently down, resting on the ground. There's no like moat or anything around this area, and there seem to be 2 guards there that are in dark colored armor. It's like almost like a gunmetal gray, like this dark gray. They don't seem to be wearing the traditional Alavran standard that most people have. They like those sort of like barbet helmets that come down. Their armor is plate. They have shields on their backs, and then they have swords on their hips. They stand there just kind of like stretching in the evening. Probably just got there. Probably started like a shift, and they just, as you approach, they watch.
Before we get too close, I'm gonna turn to Lou, and I'm gonna pull out my pair of stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go. Good luck with your horse bird. Hope it doesn't kill you.
Okay. Are you guys just going straight into the city? Okay.
Dragging a kicking and screaming child.
No.
It was quiet until you said that.
I
It's like a little defiant.
Stick my fingers right into its nose holes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Can
that's
you get
good.
an animal handling check for that?
Yeah, go for it.
He's literally handling.
Yeah.
14.
14.
Jesus.
I like to.
Just like snot, kind of like slow.
Ew.
It's just like.
Pig snot.
Aww.
Last
So
one
there you
was
go.
food.
I wanted to bring something up because Galloren's by the coast. I was thinking we could go back to Gromber and drop the bear off and then come back here and then sail out to Alavra instead of
I
going
think that would
across
be a good plan.
the continent again.
Unless we get some really fast horses.
What?
Or one big flying one.
So, because
I don't think that's gonna work.
yeah, I don't think that'll
You never know. There could be unicorns here.
But yeah, so that was just an idea. Maybe we
Pegasus.
could see like when the next
Could also
like
use unicorns.
vessel's going out of here, so we could be back in
Depending on
time.
how
Or
Well, I think it's a good idea, Lou. But we shouldn't concern ourselves with when the next vessel's leaving. We'll come back here, and if it's gonna take another month for a vessel to leave, we can decide to either wait and
Yeah.
just do local work
Or
or
walk.
walk.
yeah, but I mean like if we we could probably either like rent something or if something's going out sooner and we don't have to like pay as much.
Well,
That's what I mean.
that's
Just
a good
figure
The
out.
problem is, I believe she wants to get home as soon as
No,
possible.
no, drop her
On the
off
way back.
first.
Okay.
On the way back,
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my concern
And
is
have this get us home so we don't have to go through
If-
that horrible blast.
if
Yeah.
it takes.
Gotcha. Okay.
You
Can I
know,
stop standing on this drawbridge? The pig's getting antsy.
Well, I imagine we're talking before we get there.
Well, my concern is if we find out we have 2 weeks, we race back here, and something, I don't know. We'll handle it on our way.
I'm just saying like the vessel going out. Like just find out when they're going out as a backup if we can't like rent one or if it's sooner or like cheaper. That's what I mean. Just figure out like.
I think what he's saying is it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
We'll
I
handle
think
it.
it's
Good idea.
pointless to waste time now, but
Okay.
definitely check when we come back. And if there's not a good one, there wouldn't have been a good one anyway.
Okay.
So
We'll get you a tent for tonight.
Yeah, tent.
Why are you glaring at me?
No.
I can't summon
Blowing your
tornadoes.
face.
hurricane.
Hurricane. Horizontal
Ooh,
tornadoes.
we should get waterproofy stuff.
Yeah. Oh, like clothing.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Cloaks.
Oilskins.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what we got last time.
How long are we going to be here for?
Just in general.
Just long enough to restock, I think, and then we can head out.
Yes.
Unless Beryl looks like she needs sleep.
I imagine a day, maybe 2
Let's
max.
go.
A day or 2 max.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want to leave as soon
Yes,
as
I do.
possible.
Oh yeah, because I wanted a lantern because I can't see. And I was tired of using torches.
Neither,
'cause
buddy.
Too much fire.
Okay, we got some torches.
As you stand there, the guards just kind of
No,
like stare at you.
Imagine we're having. I wanted to be talking.
You want to talk and walk?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so entering the city of Galloren, the first thing that strikes you is that it is a far contrast from the Alavran city that you're used to, the city of Batella, the port city. While they both exist on the coastline, you would know that the cliff face goes actually into probably a massive drop before going into sand for actually quite some time before it hits the ocean. They're not
Really?
right up against the ocean
It's not a
itself.
fjord?
No, it's basically like a cliff face that it's resting up upon.
Kinda like that.
However, the city is primarily dark old wood that seems to be warped and weathered with age. The ground is mostly beaten earth. However, the central walkway that you're on is cobblestone that extends all the way up, and you notice that it kind of goes like this winding pattern as the whole city kind of slopes upwards, and it seems to be all heading towards the keep. However, all the side roads are not well kept. They're just dirt beaten paths. The houses sit on stone foundations that are all basically like almost like
Stepped.
yeah, like stepped to keep them level. But it goes up in these. It's kind of like ruddy and run down. This time of night, there's not a lot of stuff going on. The streets are mostly empty. You could hear the occasional caller. You know, somebody's lighting lanterns currently. This older gentleman. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of guard presence besides the ones you saw at the front gates. So right now you can see lights on in windows and stuff. There's smoke coming out of chimneys, but for the most part in this like sort of like dark and dreary sort of exterior. Yeah. Out of this exterior, you're basically just getting the sense that it's not there's definitely no floating things in the air. There's no cute looking
Cat.
familiars running around. It seems to be.
That was not like a lot.
For
Not at
starter
all.
purposes, our discussion ended, and she's well outside of town.
Yeah, yeah.
Along
Yes.
the road.
Okay, so you're exiting out of town.
So if she
No,
wanted
she
to,
is. We're entering.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
she didn't
so
come in
now, yeah.
Okay.
because otherwise.
Griffin,
We
Yeah.
arbalist.
should we also get like a hunting trap or two to like so while we're sleeping we can catch stuff.
That's not a bad plan.
It'll be done. Enjoy your stay. I'll be back soon.
Don't get killed by your bird horse.
or cat.
Bird lion.
Force.
Horse. You plan on riding it?
Oh
That
yeah.
makes it a horse. Ugh. Someone's having fun with the ability scores page.
Just get a little sticky there.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Level 4, yes!
Yeah.
Alright, so it is night. It's fairly obvious that there are no shops open right now.
It doesn't seem to be. Most of the doors are all firmly closed. Like I said, in the streets right now, you see a couple like stray cats. You hear noises coming from houses such as babies crying, occasional meow. Dinner's probably being served about now, or just ending pretty much.
Or it should have been served already.
Am I sitting
Oh,
with
no.
Grandma? Or did you take him in with you?
I took him.
Just dragging them through. And now you hear the occasional me.
Whenever he's not moving, I pet him. Every time he does move, I poke him.
Okay. So what are you doing?
Does this city remind me of anywhere in Theoden?
It looks not similar. Theoden's slightly more compact. The architecture doesn't seem too far out than from Theoden. It seems to have a similar sort of like coastal feel to it, I guess. It doesn't really.
We need an inn. Beryl, do you know of anywhere to stay here?
You notice that as you've been entering the city, she's been kind of like staring, like wide-eyed.
I take that as a no.
I've never been here.
Where's that lamplight?
He seems to be like probably like a couple feet away from you. Like
I
he's
go up to him.
as you go up, he's got his little ladder and he's.
I
And
will
then he
wait until he comes down off his ladder.
comes down, he grabs the ladder and he turns. and-
Hello.
Yes.
What's a good inn here in town?
See him kind of like furrow his little old man brow.
Fair enough.
And as he's sitting there, he's like, yeah, the storm canaries. Or is it
Storm?
stormy canary? Yeah.
Stormy.
Oh.
Canary storm.
It's that way.
Canary storm?
And then he picks up and he just like
Thank you. Can you
Wanders
give me
on.
like decent directions or just
he pointed you down the road and he kind of just went, but then he just like,
okay, fair enough.
and then he kind
Stick
of
with
went.
me, Beryl. I know cities like this. This will be fun.
She
Plus,
kind
if
of like
anybody tries to mess with us, I'll kill him.
she nods, seeming confused. So you guys kind of go in that direction and a little bit.
Yeah.
And you find
Well, I'll
yourself
go that direction and keep an eye on it.
keep an eye on.
I'm not going on any dark alleys. There's no kidneys to take, but
You don't want them to try.
no.
Put scratches on you.
I keep an eye out for cut purses as
You
well.
should probably bring one
What?
1,000 gold to bring one of those lizards back alive.
I mean, that's lovely. I think that's more work than it's worth.
Okay. As you head down the
Yeah, I
pathway.
could suck up a few nobles for 1,000 gold.
I don't know. Well, maybe your mouth
Whoa.
is mushy.
Let
Your
them put
mouth
stuff
is
in your
mushy.
purse. Your little pack
That's
area.
gross. So you
walk
head
up,
down.
there's all kinds
You
of stuff
notice
thrown in there. It's all sharp.
most people avoid you with like the plague. They dip into alleyways to get away from you.
Did I
They
have the dude light my lantern?
the old man,
Yeah,
he
like fire.
walked straight the fuck away from you. It seems to be one of those towns where they probably like keep to themselves for the most part. They don't seem to be too much of a.
Valvin, light.
Balvin's mouth and eyes open up.
Are you sure you want to do that in a city, Zongak? That's something peculiar, and this is a different city. There may be people interested in that or afraid of it.
I'll just let the pig go and let it go apeshit.
I mean, between the two things, I think they're more comfortable with the pig than a head.
Have you seen me?
Yeah? Which is another reason
It
why
doesn't
I'm
really
saying
matter.
we pull more attention to you.
I don't care.
Okay.
So you continue with Balvin as your light source. Again, people seem to avoid you left and right. Occasionally, you hear people kind of like skitter out immediately, kind of taking the path on the other side. As you walk through the streets, you get that smell of kind of like dirt, dust. Occasionally, the liberating smell of sea breeze that strikes up from the ocean. However, you find yourself in front of a dilapidated-looking building. The lights are on inside. The smoke is currently rising out of the chimney, but for most part, as you approach, it seems quiet.
I will go up and I will open the door.
Into the door. It is locked.
I will knock on the door. Is there a sign that says in anywhere?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Oh shit.
Just had a moment, I was like, is this someone's house?
It says Storm Canary, but it is misspelled.
Nice.
It spells stormy with like an IE instead of like just like a Y or an. So you just knock on the door. After a couple moments, you hear these groans like this, and then you hear like a latch getting pulled off the door, and you hear this like heavy like thunk, and then the door opens, like swings open, and you just see this man come out, and he's holding a little lantern in one hand. He looks like sleepy-eyed older gentleman. The inside of the inn is currently, while the lights are on, he seems to be in sleep clothes, and he's just like.
Morning, sir. Evening,
A
whatever time.
whole bunch of people.
This is an inn, correct?
Yeah,
You have rooms?
it's opened up.
How many rooms do you have?
All of them.
Oh, well, lovely. We'll be requiring a bunch. 2, 4, 6. How many dudes do we have with us still?
Do you have a stable?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't have a table.
Stable.
Oh, table.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of you that he can see.
4 dudes, right?
You have three dudes left.
Yeah,
Florin,
And
Mr. Florin.
oh yeah,
Oh,
Florin
yeah.
does count as a
No,
dude.
I know. Yeah,
And
I got Elvin marked off. Don't you worry.
That's
It says deceased
You have,
right here next to Sir
Yeah,
Florin's
so you
shield.
have. You notice the
Deceased.
the other 3 are kind of like just like looking around nervously, like
Come on, everyone, in we go. And I'm gonna
he
walk my way in.
he slides out of the way.
In we
He sets
go.
his lantern down on the counter,
Nighttime.
and he looks between all of you like, all right, it'll be.
4, 6, 8.
It's gonna be 3 gold a night each, so
3 gold a night each.
No, I'm not
3
staying
gold a
here.
night each.
Oh, fair. Pig.
So how many
You're
rooms
okay
would
with
you
that?
like?
I'm not a pig.
I'll be abstaining.
Okay, abstaining.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, gets 1 room.
Make sure Beryl and the 3 dudes get a room because I imagine that they'll want the rest of them.
They're gonna group up the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the 4 of them.
Yeah.
Beryl's gonna
Florin.
take her own,
Yep.
so she'll obviously pay for her own.
Yeah.
And then you want 1. So we have one
I
room
don't-
so
I
far.
don't need a room.
Okay.
I'm good without.
So 3 rooms.
I'll pay for them all.
Okay, so you pay for all of them, so it's 3, 6, 9, so 9 gold for the 3 rooms. At which point you shell over the money. He kind of grabs it. Seems pretty. Slides that in his pocket. At which point he, well, are you staying or going or? I need to lock up. I'm trying to sleep.
I'm going, boys. Watch Beryl. To the
Going.
gents.
Going.
Leaving.
Okay, so you head upstairs. He goes behind the counter. He produces some keys. He hands out 3 of them. You guys all head upstairs. He escorts you all the way up there. He shows you exactly where you are. Lets you in. These sort of. They're.
I'm gonna go with him to look, but I'm not staying.
The rooms aren't bad by any standard of the medieval age. It's a box frame that's filled with straw that has like a sheet basically stretched over the top of it. That has bedding kind of like rolled up at the edge for you to rest in. There's a bucket in there. There's a little box like a chest that you can store belongings in.
Has a false bottom that falls into the other room.
Oh no!
Maybe. But he opens the door for you. Every door creaks, even the floor kind of like as you walk. So disadvantage on stealth checks in this bitch. It's true because you have.
As long as there's no mops that are gonna kill me from a cupboard.
Or scarecrows.
All right. Well, it's ruining all the fun.
Go check your closet.
He gets you guys all settled, and then he kind of like motions for the three of you as you're downstairs. He like kind of funnels you out, and then after you all exit, there's this like heavy.
Before we go on the way back down to the city, so what does this town do after dark?
Sleep.
Is that all? There's no night scene. There's no anything. Okay. Where are the shopping areas here?
All
Market
about.
square?
There's lots of vendors set up stalls down in the front. If you head, it's in the north end of town, and then there are shops scattered throughout. You'd have to look around and
There's
find
not
them.
like a market square though.
No,
fair. And where are the docks?
The docks are actually out of town. You got to go outside, and then you got to follow the cliff pass down all the way to the.
And about how busy would you say they are? Are they relatively busy or?
The ports. It's pretty busy. Naval ships come in and out. Fishermen live down on the beachhead. Just don't go down directly under the Duke's keep. He has it walled off for his own personal use. He doesn't allow
there's a
people to
wall.
go.
Oh, that was my
He has his own nude beach.
I just imagined it was like under the boardwalk, and it's always bad things down there.
It's a bunch of kids doing.
You don't want to see what's down there, do we?
Skateboarders.
Doing mad kick flips.
Listen to that rock and roll
So
they do.
naughty.
At which point
Thank you.
he nods. They're not gonna
Oh.
open until the morning.
I understand. And I'll flip him a copper.
Okay. He takes it. He pockets it. You guys are ushered out. He closes the door with a heavy. You can hear the bar getting set, and then he locks locks it up, and then you can hear him kind of like grumbling as he meanders away from you.
Let's go out of town, ham hock.
Okay, you taking Ham Hock out. Okay, you take him out. What are you doing?
I would like to wander the streets. And I want to get a kind of a feel for the place.
Okay.
Because I'm an urchin,
Okay.
and I just want to take a look around and see what it's like.
We'll see you in the morning, Theta.
Fair.
Make an investigation check.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Heading back out to where we left Lou.
Okay, and then so you're heading out with Zongak. Zongak, you head out of town. The two guards kind of watch you exit. They don't really seem to say anything. Lou, as you're waiting outside, what are you waiting to do?
Can you just like set the scene a little bit? Like, what's the-
So currently the sky has kind of gone overcast over the course of the day, and now it's dark. So there's no moon. All dark, no stars. Full dark, no stars. That's the name of the book. Anyway. Yeah, that's what I did mean. At which point, as you're kind of sitting there, you get the occasional breeze that blows some of the grass around. The trees are sparse, but dense enough to make it hard to see beyond a certain point. The sound is ambient and collects. You can hear the occasional beating of great wings.
And then spines.
And then as you're
Oh.
That's what I was
as you're waiting there and kind of like standing for a minute.
Well, I'm like sitting
Tame a
Indian
manicore,
style on the. Yeah, you know what? We'll see how it goes after it's gripping. I'm gonna sit like Indian style and like stare up at the griffin, like kind of like letting myself relax for
Okay.
first time in a long time.
As you kind of relax in the woods, you hear this like it comes like getting louder and louder. This before you hear this like as it seems to land nearby, not next to you, but it lands nearby, and you can hear it kind of like walking around.
I'll sit there for like a minute and like close my eyes and just kind of like take in everything and like relax for a minute.
As you just kind of chill, it seems to stay at peace, kind of like meandering around the outside before it kind of comes a little closer and then stops.
I'll look over it. Like I'll just like look at it with my eyes. I won't move my head. Just like sit.
It seems to you hear like this little like
Like a tiny sound?
Yeah, it's like making these weird, almost like it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Just like, because you're not moving, so it's like.
Oh, you. Oh, you.
Yeah.
Like a real
I'll
eagle,
make,
it sounds like a
little,
bitch.
It kind of like turns its head in it, curious to what's going on. Heavy steps as it's like antsing up.
Yeah. So I'll just keep making like little.
Okay, that is what you're doing. You pull Hamhawk out of town a good little bit. You can set up
There
a
are
little.
no trees around here.
There are actually. This whole area is kind of like not dense. Again, it's sparse trees, but with overgrowth and like tall grass that kind of intermingles in this whole area. It's pretty thick, I guess. Is the
Okay. I go to one of the trees. I go, Balvin, turn that light off.
goes away.
I'm gonna tie Hamhawk to a tree so he could graze a little bit.
Okay, untie his arms and legs.
Just his back ones.
Okay. Then he's just kind of like, you notice as soon as you let it go, there's some like stiff movement trying to get his thing, and then he like pops up, and he's got his little like paws and his little hooves.
I'll rub his back legs, get the muscles working.
Aw.
Kind of like wiggles about for a minute,
Then I'll undo his front ones,
just standing there.
and then I'll just sit. Go eat.
Just starts running in circles around the tree until it like hits the end and then runs the other way. Starts going
running
away.
in circles into the tree.
Yeah, it just keeps doing it, and then it calms down for a minute, and it
Once it calms down, I
starts grazing.
Does his little nose move up and down?
Yeah, it's like.
Finds a
Okay.
truffle.
And what are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Zongak,
It's worth a lot in Starfield.
I'll head back to where Lou is. We'll be
Okay.
down the road a little bit.
don't worry, he'll be ready by Wonders Fest
All right.
or the
Sounds
Frozen
good.
Moon Festival.
Frozen Moon Festival.
And then I will.
when you eat
I will
pig,
Not
right?
light.
that far off.
I will light my bullseye lantern and begin making my way down.
Okay. So you light your lantern and you begin to kind of walk out. You can see the light kind of spilling in. The griffin just kind of like,
Oh, they're coming my way. Okay.
yeah, he's coming your way.
Pig is
Balvin,
not-
tell a joke.
Oh, what is it?
Oh.
You're the worst.
It's just kind of like sitting there, and then it's kind of like getting closer, but then doing that like it gets closer, and then takes like side steps around you, and then gets closer, and then side steps
Like
around you.
like a slightly nervous horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't like do anything. I'm just gonna sit there while
You're
it.
not gonna give it anything.
No, I'm just gonna
Okay.
let it get used to me.
It's just kind of like hanging out, and then after about I'd say about like 10, 15 minutes, it just kind of like lays down. It's just like staring at you.
Is it on the side that I'm approaching for, or is it on her far side?
No,
Am
it's
I
like
supposed to-
you, her, and then the
Alright, good.
With
Griffin.
a griffin, is it like dogs where you're not supposed to make eye contact? Do I
You don't
remember
know?
anything like that? Oh shoot. Okay. I'll look at it then.
Okay. It looks at you.
There's
Um,
a slight sentience
but
to its
I
eyes.
did save that gross piece of meat
Which
from
one?
earlier, so I will cut like a
The
little.
half one.
Oh.
Yeah, the half one that
That's
I
gross.
put on the ground. Yeah.
It got dirt on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm like, yeah.
Brush it
None
off.
of us are gonna eat it.
Right.
The piece
So,
of animal
yeah.
corpse
Yeah,
has
yeah.
some dirt
So
on it.
I will take a little piece off, like not even like an inch of it. Cut a little piece with a dagger, toss it to him.
Toss it to him, and then it just kind of like snatches it up and just lays there. Still, it's just like.
Yeah. It's a little awkward little.
Right.
Okay, and then just sit, chill.
As you approach, what are you doing?
I get about 10 feet from her, then I'll sit down.
Okay. As you sit down, there is a. You rest down. You notice that the thing seems to turn towards him, but it doesn't seem to really react. And then there is a secondary
No.
into the
fucking
ground
way.
next to you.
I will say. I will say
Good
out
thing I
loud,
wore
no
my
fucking
brown
way.
It seems to be looking at her, but it landed next to you and just like. "Rah!" And this one seems to be like kind of moving a little bit more
And
like.
I know Maul's back there, right?
Oh yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
the lantern.
Yeah.
You just heard the.
So when I hear Maul, I'll be like.
You hear his butthole whistle
Yeah.
when it closed so fast it.
No, I'm calling you. I cast detect nerves.
Oh, they're steel.
You don't detect anything.
Take care,
You
Huso.
smell
Sleep
something
well, buddy.
Terrible.
Yeah.
About 10 feet away from you.
Shit. Is that your shit?
Oh,
Pull
that's
out,
me.
pull out a ration
Okay.
and throw it on the ground in front of the one that is now near me.
Okay. Go ahead and make an animal handling check, please.
Oh.
Maybe.
20.
Wow.
Nice.
Very good.
I've got
Let me
Down.
go and mark.
Oh.
Okay,
Think of
one-
an
Do yours,
animal
do
name?
I'm feeling ballsy.
Okay.
okay, 1 second.
You're gonna lose those balls.
Alright, let me just.
You
write
tell it down,
down-
and it's like, huh.
Or just picks him up and flies away with him.
He's like, oh, this is my life.
Griffin man! Flying through the stars and the stars.
That'd be a good way to go, I think.
Grapple
You know?
and pin.
Picked up and then dropped.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
as you
Josh?
throw it in front of you, there's this moment where it's like you can almost feel this like the feathers kind of rustle, and then it stomps around you very quickly and snatches up the ration, and then it. But unlike the other one, as it snatches it up, you see it kind of like turn towards you, and it's just like. "Rah!"
Ooh.
I'm gonna lock eyes with it.
It's like looking around you like.
We're out of time. I'll toss another ration out.
Okay, so you throw out another one. It catches it out of the air, and then it begins to kind of like, it's like moving its arms back and forth. It kind of like jumps up and down, and then it's like, bah! Bah! And just like getting like more and more like,
Oh, jeez. What's the
He's
other
hip
griffin
hop
doing?
and be popping.
huh?
What's the other griffin doing?
The other one's like watching, like
Oh, it's
kind
just
of
the
like,
land?
just like laying there, like watching.
No, chill, bro.
I'm gonna stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking lock eyes with it. Pull out another ration.
Okay, make an animal handling check, please.
It's not. So that was a fluke. That's a 4.
No.
A 4. Hello, Mom, my old friend.
No!
I'll fight this thing.
Don't do that.
I don't wanna.
And then you can feed Griffin to the other Griffins.
Yeah, right. Cannibalism. Which part of it is
Except by
cannibalism?
most animals.
As you look into its eyes, and kind of like towards it, it immediately like it reels back for a minute, and you can see like its chest puff up quite intensely, and then it's going to make its attacks against you, sir.
Oh.
Sweet.
Ah, jeez. Alright, I'll.
Oh, that's not good. That's only a 8. That, however, is a 25.
That definitely hits.
Okay. You take 8 points of slashing damage.
Alright.
As it kind of like puffs up its chest, and you make like the noise towards it, you see it kind of like shake its feathers a little bit, and then it rushes forward, and as its beak lunges towards the food, you drop it, and then it reels back and just puts both claws like right into the front of you, kind of like knocks you back, and then it snatches up the food, and it takes like steps to the side and just kind of like.
Was it like an intentional thing, or was it trying to get to the food?
Oh no, it was trying to fuck him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
He was aggressive towards it, so it retaliated.
I'll stand up. I'll stand up slowly. I'm just standing up, but like I have my hand like toward Kitty, and like I go else. I'll stand up slowly, like that whole Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Raptor thing.
The one that you've been Kitty just stands up too, just kind of gets up.
I'll make some mouse sounds.
Okay.
But
Just
I'll look at the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does not appear to be going well.
I got this.
Is this just bleeding?
Yes, he is. He's bleeding a little bit. Yeah.
I got this.
You can't be. You gotta
Got
be
it.
calm.
You got it.
Be the river. Be the stone, not the river.
Just told me to be the river.
Sorry. Just gotta be
I don't
still.
have a lot of these left.
Be the storm.
Pull out another one.
Uh-huh.
Come here.
Okay, go ahead and make another animal handling check, please.
12.
12. Okay. It approaches, and it's kind of like you get that sense. It's like fur, or its feathers are still rustled upwards, and it's like kind of like moving forward. It's got that like Egyptian head motion thing going on, like from the pigeon move.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of doing that like. What is your armor class?
Currently 16.
16. That's exactly the number I rolled. It snatches the food, and you get the sense that it's not intentional. However, it did clip you.
Yeah. I watched this shit happen already.
Yeah, you did.
Section of
You're
it.
now missing a finger.
5 points of piercing damage as it just kind of like snatches it, kind of catches part of the arm as it like closed too soon and just like rakes the front of your hand, and it eats the ration.
With my other hand, I'll reach back and grab another one.
Okay.
I think we're in your town right now.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of these.
Yeah, I have some. Do you want some?
You
I'll say that to you.
also
Offer
have.
it to him as well.
Okay, you can make one more animal handling check, please.
Fuck! Not great. 11.
11. It approaches. Once again, what's your armor class?
16.
16, 6. That's 18. So you're going to take an additional.
Accidental attack.
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's max damage. It's 12 points of piercing damage.
Jesus.
As this one, it like latches onto your hand for a minute, and it's trying to like get your arm, and then it like lets go, and then snatches the food out, and it's just like arms kind of like mangled a little bit, mostly around like. Luckily, your bracer took some of it, but you got like a deep gash in there, and then it's just kind of like. It's like tilting its head at you.
I've only got 2 more.
You notice it kind of like begins kind of like backing away from you, and as it does, it calls out really loudly, and the other one kind of like that's been walking side by side with you, just kind of like, and then they both begin to, and they fly upwards. It's part of the process, man.
They fly upwards and away, or just up?
Upwards and away.
Up and away, you might say.
Can you make another animal handling check, sir, for me, while you're doing your?
Didn't even give it any food.
The other one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, because I was letting Mom do it. I didn't want to like interfere.
I got an 8.
8.
And then he'd be like, "You both did grab it."
Okay. It just seems to be.
Other shit.
It's not calming down. I mean, it's a boar. It's fucking wigging out. But it's just like.
If it gets to the point where it's, I'll wrestle it.
Don't wrestle a boar.
If it gets to the point where I'll wrestle it.
Make your grapple check, sir.
Boar
He's gonna get Stockholm
wrestling.
syndrome, and you guys are just gonna get rid of it.
Be my friend.
All right.
We're friends,
So,
Archie.
you guys are alone in the dark.
Oh, sit down.
14.
He had a 6, so you're.
I just
wrestling him.
lay him
Do
down.
we hear that, by the way?
Yeah, you can hear this.
He's not like crazy
Yes,
far,
yes, 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 yes,
but
yes.
he can see the lamp.
All right. So you spend the evening attempting to do it. I will let you make one more at advantage for the remainder of the evening.
I'll say it to
Since
Mom.
you've been
They seem
kinda
to
like-
have a very, like,
And I start
dysfunctional
rubbing dirt
relationship.
into his skin
Okay.
because
They like that.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
You fed it 4 rations, right, Matt?
Yes.
Maw.
Right, Matt?
Matt the Maw. What?
that is a 10.
It's not even his
Solid
name.
10.
That's not even.
All right.
That's not even anyone's name here.
Well, he works with.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you manage to rub some dirt in it, kind of like chills out for a second and just kind of like lays there, and then you notice it kind of like start drifting off from being so adamant for the whole trip. Yeah,
I'm going
Then-
against everything.
tuckered himself out.
Oh, he's all tired out.
Okay,
I'm just gonna lean up against him and go to sleep.
okay. So you guys pass out. What are you two doing?
I'll ask Mom what town is like and stuff.
Closed early. Pretty dead
We're
out
gonna
there.
go cruise the docks.
No,
Whores.
no.
No.
Foxes, thank you.
Kind of expected that whole thing to go differently.
How did you expect it to go?
Well, come out, sit down, Kitty, over there. I'm not calling it Kitty Kitty. First name Kitty, last name Kitty.
That's his father's name.
I'm calling it Kitty.
Okay.
So I figured Kitty would just hang out, and I'd just be here in case you get attacked. Then I see I was the one that was attacked.
It was I.
I feel like we came to an understanding though,
I think that
but we're stuck out here.
we're gonna stay out here.
No, the inn is closed and locked.
Oh,
So we
did you not? You didn't give him?
did, but he bars the door.
Oh, well, I wasn't planning on going. In.
Same. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow to buy supplies.
So does that mean we can't go into town now?
No, we can go into
No,
town.
but I mean like point up to this
Not until we can control them.
guy. But I mean like,
It's not
are
gonna
they
follow
gonna
you into
follow?
town.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was worried about. Cool, I can go to town.
Or it will, and we'll have a wonderful battle in the streets with some guards. We'll just have to look like we're
It'll look
helping
like
the guards
that
while they
fucking-
get horribly murdered.
It'll be that scene in Kill Bill with the with her and anyway.
Good talk.
With her and the Griffin,
Shoulda-
of course. I
shoulda-
remember that scene
Should have
well.
finished that statement,
No,
please.
her like fighting off all the guards or like all the yakuzas. They
The
come out
88,
there, like
the 88 Madmen.
yes, things like
Yeah.
that.
Crazy 88.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's that scene.
So
Well, us with guards. Anyway.
I'm gonna take this lantern, and I'm gonna go get us some firewood, and we'll build this fire.
Should we? Do you have any food left?
Yes.
Okay.
Not
I
a
have
lot.
one food left.
One food.
Oh no, I got us some food. So we ate today.
And
We're
you
good.
have a pair of steaks.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
I gave you 2
Oh, that's right.
steaks.
That's right. Okay.
Right
So I'm gonna get us some
Um,
firewood. come
Okay,
back.
so you make a fire. You guys settle in.
Yep.
Pass out. Everyone's
Bloody
asleep.
your day.
Theta, you wander the streets. Anything in
Yes.
particular you're looking for, except for just
I'm-
like ways to get through the city
I'm
quickly?
pretty much just trying to get a feel for this city and see
Okay.
if there's. I'm always looking for something I'm not supposed to see.
Okay, there's 2 main thoroughfares in the city. There's the one that takes you from the main gate directly to the keep, and then there's a cross one that is also cobblestone that you discover
Okay.
that leads lengthwise across the city. But you notice that they both
Which way is
intersect. North is actually towards Alavra, so it's
Towards the main gate, or is it
Towards the main gate.
horizontal one?
towards the main gate is
Okay,
north.
Cool.
South will lead you to the cliff face and to impending doom. You notice that the
Okay,
construction
I
of the
can
city
see.
is the back wall, the cliff face itself, is all stonework with trebuchets behind it. They seem to have like this
For port defense.
for port defense. Seems to be their primary reasoning for having this. The front end seems to be all palisades and wooden construction for a ground assault, but it doesn't seem like that's likely considering the way that they've constructed the city. The defenses of the city seems that they probably have more threats seaward than they do coastally, from the mainland. However, the city seems old, very old. Thousands of years old, maybe. It seems like they've rebuilt and they've repaired things over and over again, constantly. You've noticed that there is a lack of people, and the people that you do see kind of meandering about all seem to be either very, very old or very young and being told to get inside by old people. That youngish middle population that usually is awake at this time of night doesn't seem to be present within the city.
Oh.
Surprisingly dead as you wander about. The guards are sparse. You may have seen 2 since they don't seem to patrol regularly. There doesn't seem to be obviously anything going on, so there's probably a low presence. However, you don't see any way to get to the port, and you do remember being told you have to get out of you have to leave the city and go around and then
Fair.
to get to the to get down. Though when you approach, you try to get closer to the wall. You can easily enough. You can't get on top of it, but you can look through some of their arrow ports, and you notice that the cliff is easily 120 feet straight down to doom. But yeah, that's the main layout of the city. Is 2 main thoroughfares, but the cobblestone thoroughfares seem to intersect heading towards the
While
keep.
I'm wandering around, does anywhere look like a vacant markety place? Like maybe 3 or more vendors, or perhaps a blacksmith.
They seem to have a stall set up where there are wooden constructed stalls up against the sides of buildings in this alleyway.
Okay.
I guess alleyway. It's a street. It's pretty
Sure.
decent width, but you notice they're built up against the side of houses, so people probably come here and they bring goods and they set them down. But as you've been kind of meandering about, you also have seen. I mean, you got all night, so
Yeah.
you've seen symbols for shoemakers, tailors, tanners, fletchers, masons, whitesmiths, blacksmiths.
Oh, so there's signage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see a general store that says the witch's cauldron, and oddly enough, the light seems to be on in there. And you hear moving around in there. The stalls are all empty currently, but that's the best thing you can get for a.
I'd like to hit up the witch's cauldron then.
Okay. As you approach and go to try the door,
Yeah.
knock or
Or
you just
gently knock.
you knock, and then you hear this huh? Someone there?
Yes.
This you kind of you hear this door open, this unlocking of the latch, and the door swings open, and as it does very creepily, there's this hunched old woman, crooked nose, pointed chin, one big kind of eye, one kind of half closed, and she's as she's opening it, she has this kind of hood up, and
I was hoping she'd
sparse
have,
gray
curly
hair.
She
looks
the
like a
witch
crone.
From Snow White.
Yeah, kind of very very similar. And as she opens the thing very slowly, she's like.
Hello.
As right before you talk, she goes to look around you, what? Somebody leave this for me? And then you kind of talk. She's like, oh, hi, dearie.
Hello. You're the only one open.
Yeah, come in.
Sure.
No, the strong hand.
Come in. And she kind of touches your hat, and just and like guides you inside.
I will walk you into this store.
As you enter into the store, you notice a general store with just an array.
I will kill her so dead.
You notice it's just array of just random things kind of like scattered about, almost like it's like a dollar store, you know, like everything's just kind of like out there. There doesn't seem to be any organizational structure to it. Anything ranging from a candle to like a climber's pack, you know, like she's got it all just kind of spread out. And then she kind of like takes this very creepy peek outside, and she like looks around. And then she like looks at the sign to the store. Takes it down. Fucking kids. And then closes the door behind her. And then she turns around. She's like, "Hey, well, I hope you didn't want any witch stuff."
Oh, no, I am new to town, traveling with a group, and I was just looking for shops, and you had a light on. I was curious if you were open. There's nothing else to do at night in stores, and I kind of like the nights in cities.
She kind of like walks by you. She moves very, she's like labored. But she moves around you, and then she kind of like pops down on a stool. What would you like?
What do you specialize in?
General.
You see there's like this moment of processing, and she goes, "I don't know. I have all sorts of things. I cater to the adventurer type, maybe.
Maybe.
Or not. Maybe the tinkerers type. We have hammers and shit."
There, I'm going to take a look around.
Certainly. She just kind of like,
just kind of look through and see if anything interesting catches my eye.
"You're new in town, huh?
Indeed.
Oh, that's lovely. Did you
What
bring
about
friends?"
You? Tell me about you.
I'm not new in town. I'm Griselda,
Griselda, with a C or a G?
with a G.
Oh.
And welcome to Griselda's General Store. I didn't have a cool name, but the kids keep tacking up different things on my signage, so it's just, one of them things.
Well, you could always embrace one, take it on, you know?
The Witch's Cauldron, come on now.
No, not
That's
necessarily
silly.
that one, but I don't know.
Griselda's General Goods. Yeah, that's what I do.
Fair.
So you've been in town long?
No, we just came in tonight.
Oh, lovely.
How about you?
I lived here my whole life.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, 1,000 years or so.
I
I'm only
cook
like
you?
60.
Oh, is that not? Oh,
No, yes, I'm young.
fair.
Thank you.
Lasted 1,000 years.
He said
I
I
would
was
not have
fair.
been surprised.
My.
What is the name of the city again?
It's Galloren.
The fairest in the land.
She kind of like brushes some of her
There's an
straw-like
apple.
hair out of her
Turns
face.
him into a mirror.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I could already be a mirror. I have a polish kit. And a buffing pad.
Yeah, but you shouldn't do that outside.
I do have a buffing
You shouldn't do
pad.
that. Good boys don't do that right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I just want to take a look around her store and some
Okay.
kind of stuff. She has make small talk with her, talk about like the city in general, and comment on the lack of people that I see out at night. I'm seeing more ne'er-do-wells and pieces of shit and drunkards.
I think she asked you if you had friends.
She did. I did not respond.
She explains that no, ever since the whole lizard people been running around.
So you've encountered them.
And they've just been talking about him.
Oh.
I mean, the old Rufus, well, the Duke, he got back via his little teleportation thingy earlier,
That would have been much better.
and
We should have talked to her sister.
since then there's just been all sorts of shenanigans going on.
Rita.
You know how it goes.
Indeed, yes. I mean, I don't.
Oh, well,
Never had conscription with my home. Yeah, actually, Griselda, would you like a fair bit of gossip?
Yes.
Okay, because my group came through the flatlands. We traveled here from Alavra, and we encountered several dangerous things in the wild, and some not dangerous things too. Those are the better ones. Elks, pigs. But we also saw lizard men, and one of them was monstrous. He was just like, have you ever seen a crocodile or an alligator? It was like that, but a barbarian.
Oh.
Very large, yes, and angry, and we turned him to stone.
Oh my.
Yeah. He wouldn't be out there anymore. I think we broke part of him. We may have broken all of him. I don't remember. But yeah, so that there were also flying things that talked to each other. That was terrifying. And they wanted our horses, but then they didn't take them. I don't know. And then there were fire things. There were lizards on fire, like a salamander, but they were like people salamanders. They were like, normal person size. And they were going through and lighting stuff up when the rain was on them and it sizzled. So there's a lot of scary shit out there.
It's probably why they've been entrenching themselves along the forest for the last couple weeks now.
Indeed. But I'm here to tell you the threat is very real. It is a real thing. And I don't think they're headed this way, though. I think they're going the other way. I don't think they're that interested in this direction. I'm
not worried.
No?
No. The Duke's somewhat of a master tactician, they say. Not much in the way of the fisticuffs kind of thing.
I'm a child. I'm sorry.
But
he doesn't like to fist, but he does do it from behind.
But they do say that well, as long as I can remember, he's always been one of them commanding types. Skinny little thing at first, but now he's kind of gotten what's that macho going on there?
What's that macho?
What's that? You know what I'm saying?
Bulky?
Yeah, he got bulky. He's gotten bigger. Yeah. So quite the looker now. Used to be a little twig of a man.
Fair.
Got a nice
Maybe
ass.
15 years or so ago.
Now, I did bring up the fire lizards because in my brief jaunt around your city, I noticed that a lot of things are made out of old wood. And I imagine fire might be devastating to your entire city, especially, starting with the Palisades and working its way back.
Yeah, well, I've lived a long time.
Fair. But you said you were only 60.
Only 60. Only.
You're a good deal younger than I am.
Thank you.
What?
I'm gonna take a look around.
Okay. If anything specific you're looking for, I'll tell you if it's there, because it's all kinds of shenanigans.
Honestly, what I'm really looking for is anything that only somebody who collects a bunch of junk might have. Something random and something weird. Something that really sticks out, whether or not I want to buy it. Just something peculiar in the pile of detritus.
It's like a Kmart.
I mean, of all the shenanigans, there's a fucking...
Kmart clearance aisle.
Yeah.
Let me get my notes.
Oh.
Is there a puzzle box?
She seems to have a weird looking doll.
Oh, I would like to look at it.
Okay. You take a look. It seems to be a very haphazardly created doll with straw hair that goes up almost like a troll doll, bound with a sack. It looks like something you'd see a child draw and then recreate. So it's both fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Something you wouldn't want to turn around very quickly and see.
Certainly
but
didn't know it was
when you've got exposed to it for a while, it doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies or nothing. But it's just kind of amongst the crap that's in
I'll
there.
hold it up and look at her questioningly.
She'll look at it and she'll go, hey, you notice that a lot of things tagged. It's not tagged. It's just sitting there. She's like, 10 copper.
I'm gonna take a good long look at this and see if it can do anything. See if anything
strikes you.
Yeah.
Make an investigation check.
Sure. Wait, hold on.
You open up the back and the battery pack's empty.
Right.
And yet it still talks to you.
Investigation is good.
It takes weird batteries.
14.
14. As you're holding onto it, you spread the legs, spread the arms, give it a little squish around. Nothing strikes you as
Immediately.
nothing strikes you as it's just a weird thing in the.
I'm gonna set it down where it was, and I'm gonna pick it up again and position it so it's sitting with its hands in its lap if I can. Just
Right. Yeah, it just kind of flops there.
Yeah.
5 copper.
You know what? Okay.
Got him. Lady.
I got him.
Do we want to pause X for a quick break?
We can take a quick break.
Yeah.
After he knocks off his copper. We'll be right back, guys. We'll be continuing with the...
I'm solid. I'll say, Griselda, it's been lovely. Have a wonderful day. Watch out for those lizard men. They're devastating.
I can take a look.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna head back out into the night. I'm gonna find. I'm gonna look around because even cities that don't have those people have those areas where urchins and night folk tend to go through. I'm looking for something like that.
Okay.
And
It
night
usually
stranglers.
smells like urine.
Yeah. All of it smells
All right,
like
so we will be right back, guys. I hope you're enjoying so
There's
far.
there's less bottles and urine and more blood.
Join us when we come back after our break. We're going to do a quick downtime, use the bathroom, grab some drinks, all that stuff. And then when we come back, we will continue the adventures in Galloren. So
both of
be right
those
back.
in
Yeah,
Adventures
so you can call this episode. The Adventures in Galloren.
in Galloren.
Galavanting. to the stream.
I hit the
Oh,
wrong
nice.
button.
Good
And
job.
we went to the Monster Hunter one.
Perfect.
We went to the Monster Hunter
sorry.
one.
Yeah.
So it's just that.
I didn't see it.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think it'll.
I mean, if we're hunting monsters, everybody else is gonna die.
Oh
All
my
right.
God! So did I tell you the lovely story of my phone?
No.
No, sir.
So
Okay.
I looked really good the other day, and
Mhm.
I took some pictures of myself naked.
Naked.
So I have a new phone, and
It sees
was
things that aren't
trying
there.
I was trying
Yeah,
to
sure.
sort things, and I have folders that have my dirty pictures in them, and they'll have a Z at the beginning, so they end up at the bottom of my list. Well, Google does. Yeah, I got it already. I just make me look. So Google, whenever you update a folder, puts it to the top. You can't sort by alphabetical. So I had it there, and I was talking to my coworker. I was like, "Oh fuck, dude, this picture I pulled up. I pull it up. There's just a folder full of me, and I was just like, God, son of like pictures from 2 years back, like forever ago, just these pinned to the front. So I was like, man, that's not okay. So it was like, report a problem to Google. So I report a problem to Google, and I write a big long thing that's like, hey, I don't want to show my coworkers my penis. I'm annoyed that you don't have a sort by alphabet by album thing, because every phone I've ever had has allowed me to do that. It's annoying. Fix this, please. And I hit send. And as I hit the send button, I realized there was a box checkmarked, and it was send screenshot. So some poor dude at Google got in, opened this thing up, and just had pictures of me naked in front of him.
It's just like your phone was like, I really want you to be naked
Yeah.
today, people. Like, I really
I
want
need
you to have
complete
this.
strangers to look at your
Yeah.
package. So my coworkers
there you
and I had
go.
a nice big laugh over that one.
Well,
So
there you go,
always
everybody.
check the boxes that are checked.
Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes.
At least your problem will probably get fixed, maybe.
They're gonna be like, oh man, we totally see what's happening here.
Can you
We
send us
see
another
what's happening
screenshot?
here. Yeah, one more, please.
Just so we know.
Just
what's
Randy
wrong.
in
needs like
case.
2 more of those screenshots. Different pages.
Who's
though.
Randy?
Okay, so
More.
you continue looking through. You surprisingly don't find anywhere where the sort of riffraff would be hanging out within the city. You get a sense, at least easily enough, at least not in this area, because they seem to hang them outside as decoration.
Well, sure, but I mean, usually you have a couple of good ones.
Usually.
Yeah.
I-
know. I'm
But
not saying
if you
do
go
it
to
not.
the, you might have better luck if you went to the port.
Sure. Fair.
But
But I was more curious about this area. I
Yeah,
didn't
look for
want to-
Jimmy's mom.
She
Still
works
hangs
at
on
that
dockside
alleyway by
vibes.
the inn.
you can. Most buildings here aren't close enough to not warrant a walkway between
I'm
them.
gonna head back to the inn.
Okay.
And just post up and just take a little nap.
Hang out. Okay,
Yeah,
so
outside.
everyone is out. You guys rest peacefully for the morning. However, Theta, you are aroused first by the sound of armored movement. I guess is the best way to. You hear like sort of like the run of
stealth.
guards. Go ahead and make your stealth check, please.
We got a full rest though, right?
Yes, absolutely. This is
We're good.
morning.
Okay.
You guys
Everyone
sleep
else?
peacefully. You wake up, kind of already patched up the old arm. You slept quite well in your little. You're actually quite familiar with these types of arrangements. Most places actually have these. The more common nice beds are a luxury that only the best places can afford, such as the city of San Mania. A lot of the capitals have those sort of niceties, but these outer rim places don't. However, you're also awoken to the sound of what sounds to be like a formation, like guards in formation.
Is there a window in my room?
Yes, there is.
I'm gonna look out and see if I can see what.
Out into the fucking Disney opening of just like kind of like bleak outer shell.
Bonjour.
There's overcast skies, the occasional pigeon on rooftop covered in
What kind of
soot,
language
you
is
know,
it?
like, and you're like,
Speaking in tongues.
Bonjour.
fuck off! Shut the
Fuck
fuck
you.
up! Oh, what the hell?
These are all different people.
Do you know what time it is?
There goes the baker with his tray like always.
It's too expensive.
Well, fuck you, Belle.
So, looking outside though, you're kind of facing the outside of the property, not the front. You don't really see anything, but you can hear it once you open the window. You can hear it loud in this sort of like shing, shing, shing,
Oh no.
movement.
They're coming after
Can I
Kitty
tell
Kitty.
which way they're going?
It seems to be getting louder, coming towards you.
Coming towards me.
What was your stealth roll?
22.
22. As you like instinctively kind of like lean up against the wall, take a couple steps to the sides, you peek your head out. You notice that there are a number of guards that seem to be forming up in front of the building. In like, there's probably about 8 of them right now that have like formed up, and then one of them approaches the front door and with a heavy armored gauntlet just boom, 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 boom,
gonna quietly watch them from the
Just like
side.
hang out for a minute.
Yeah.
There's a few grumbles. You hear from downstairs. You can hear the gentleman that let you in earlier. He goes up and heads to the door. There's the heavy sliding off, and then like before he even gets it, it's boom open. And as he comes in, he's just like, on behalf of the Duke, move! And they just kind of like start barreling into the inn.
Do they all go in?
Yeah. Well, 3 of them remain outside, but the other ones go in. And the guy's like, oh, I'm no problem.
Barrel's room?
Okay. You exit out. You notice that it's an open banister area. So like as you exit out, they'll kind of like look up. Then you head over to Barrel's room. You begin knocking on the door, and then a couple of them begin up the stairs towards them. And they're like, which room is the Baroness in? And they're like grilling the guy in the corner. He's like, oh, Baroness. I don't know. They got the tiefling, and there's some humans, and then there's a dwarf in that one. And then they all kind of like head towards Barrel's room.
Ooh, shit.
So, you guys wake up peacefully?
Yes.
Quite the contrary. Ham Hock is already awake. He's grazing by himself, hanging out. He's just kind of like eyeing you suspiciously, like, and then eating. And then
I'm gonna.
I had a nice
Is
night.
there any vegetation besides grass I can
you'd
see? In the...
have to investigate. You have to look around.
All right.
Make an investigation check as you search. What are you two doing?
Some radish greens or something.
Collecting my lantern, checking the skies.
Yeah, I'll check out this guy.
You don't see anything flying around.
All right, well, let's go get some stuff. They'll be back.
Okay.
Or they won't.
That's a 0.
Well, there's grass. There's more grass.
I just rip up the grass.
Some grass. That's a mushroom. No, that's a poop. Mm-mm.
I mean, he'll probably eat it, but...
So, you grab up some grass, you feed it to the,
Yep. Pat him. Get some more, like, earth and just...
rub it on him. Alright, make an animal handling check at advantage, please.
Bites you while you're rubbing him down.
Maybe.
Don't be rude.
15.
15. As you're kind of like, rubbing the dirt into his like, hide, he's just kind of like, just like staring at you. Alright,
I
so,
love this relationship.
that is your morning. You guys kind of begin gathering your materials up, and you begin heading towards town.
Oh, when I take them, I'm going to have all the rope in my hand. Like you do with a fucking military dog. You keep it
Yeah, you
close
try to
to you
like
and just...
heal it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
But I'm going to leave his legs unbound.
My chain and dagger and wind it around one hand. Just have it ready.
Okay.
If she doesn't answer the door immediately, I'll just tell her to get ready.
She
Company shortly.
as with all the ruckus and stuff, she kind of pops the door open. You notice she's partially in her armor already, and she's like kind of like wide-eyed, like, whoa.
There are guards coming in now. They're looking for you.
She like kind of like peeps at which point the guard that seems to be in charge, he's like coming down the staircase, and he's like, and then he gets up to the door by where you're at, and he's like, excuse me. And as you slide out of the way, he looks at he kind of like centers himself in the door frame, and he's like at like kind of like this like attention, you know. He's got like one hand, and he bows very deeply, and he's like, Baroness, Bureau Black Mountain of Gromber, I deeply apologize for our intrusion. However, the Duke has just learned of your arrival in the city, and he demanded us collect you and bring you to the keep, so that you are not in these conditions. And she's just kind of like, okay. All right. At which point they kind of like flank, and they get in like this little fancy formation outside the door. They kind of like, you kind of get pushed out of the way a little bit as they like flank both sides, and she kind of like finishes getting ready, and they just stand there, trained and disciplined in their positioning. And she like comes out. She holds her helmet in one hand, or her hammer is kind of like currently slung in its holder, and she's just like, oh, okay. And then they same time, and they begin to march her out of the building.
Follow closely.
Okay.
Oh wait, are her other guards awake?
So the other door, goes, and then you just like tumble out. It's like Ahmad half dressed, He has an arrow and no bow. He's like, what is happening?
Get yourself ready. We're going to keep. Now.
It's inside the door real fast, like, and then
Bumps into someone else.
right, there's just like an accordion going on. It's the Three Stooges in that room right now. You hear music and. So you begin to exit
We're not
out.
waiting for you.
Yeah, you guys head out. The innkeeper looks rather like put off. He's like, what the fuck is happening?
I'll take up 2 more gold and put it.
He just kind of like stands there waiting as you walk by, and then he snakes it. What the hell? You see that eventually she comes out. They seem to have this.
How does she look?
She seems confused mostly. Like she's holding her helmet.
Does
She's
she
like,
seem menacing?
no, they seem to be like in formation,
Okay.
and it's like.
I'm gonna quietly put my chain away. I'm gonna wait until the formation comes about even with me, and then I'm going to attempt to slip my way in next to her.
Okay, go ahead and make a
Slip check.
A slither check.
make a. Make an acrobatics check, we'll say.
All right.
See if you can squeeze in there.
It's a 21.
21. So as they're walking, and just like
Yep, pretty much.
and she's just kind of like holding her helmet, looking around, and then she's just like
I'll put my hand on her.
she does like the like the I've seen you, and then she's like
Double take?
yeah, like the what
And
the
I'm just gonna walk like I belong right there next to her.
she's kind of like, and then she keeps walking like, confused,
Thank you.
a little bit off put, but they didn't seem to notice. They're just marching in their way. Rashid follows close behind. You guys make your way out.
We're just making arrangements.
I go back into town towards the end.
Okay.
Adjust my keeper.
Make it smaller.
Why do you have one eye now?
That's all I need.
Andrew.
What?
I don't know if you heard me.
So you guys make your way back into town. As you enter into the city,
Yeah, but that's all Andrew doing.
as you re-enter
Is it?
into the city, you can hear the rhythmic sort of in this instep sort of motion, which amongst the morning as people are coming out, you notice you actually get full view of the seemingly average age seems to be over about 50 to 60. These people are coming out of their homes. They seem to be watching small children that run and play and scream even this early in the morning. They seem to go about their normal business. Occasionally you can see like shops opening doors. They're sort of sporadic and spread out, but they seem to be all over. There seem to be the stalls are setting up. As you walk towards the center, you can kind of see the stalls beginning to set up on one end. So it seems like the day is beginning. So it would seem. And as you guys cross into the middle, they bring you directly into the middle thoroughfare, which allows you guys to see them kind of in formation, this ragtag. 4 and 4, Biril in the middle, Thade off to one side, and then Rashid in the behind, and they just seem to be being marched.
Oh, we see the barrel. Okay. Oh, I like it. Speed up.
Okay, hurry up.
Is she
Okay.
a princess?
Beryl?
She's a queen. She used to be a queen.
She's like a queen.
Oh.
She's a conquered queen. I,
Is that a euphemism?
Zongai, believe we should just let that happen.
Is that a euphemism?
I don't think
Conquered Queen.
I feel like it is,
And
right?
we're gonna go
I
get
think that's a
stuff
sex
for people.
You're gonna go get stuff
Okay.
for people.
Well, wait, do you
Excellent.
want to make sure she's not in trouble, or like, or maybe they're in trouble too? Or maybe
One
they
of them I could see, but I don't think both of them are in trouble.
maybe Beryl got in trouble for being there. Should we just go see and make sure?
You
it's
can,
good
you
first? Okay.
can. I trust them because look, Lou, you know Theta, and you know Ra, and if there was trouble, they wouldn't be marching. They'd be stabbing or unconscious and being drugged.
Absolutely.
Still gonna check it
You
out.
should, by all means. We need supplies.
Oh yeah, we'll get
So
supplies.
we'll go get supplies. We'll take Hamhawk with us, and
You going with them? As
I'm
well?
on with him.
he'll
With who?
just
Shopping.
Okay.
I
Cool.
want to
like,
add one more ration. I'm gonna give it to
Okay, make an animal
I
handling
take it.
check, please.
From her hand. I give it to
Okay, make an animal handling check, please.
you. Got to do it with the bird cat.
bird cat.
18.
18.
I thought it would be like a 3, and he's like, you shove it into his
Yeah.
face, and the pig looks scared and confused.
Yeah.
But eats it. scared.
As you're standing there and it's staring at like snout up at the food, and then it gets snatched and it's like following it, and then you stuff it in its mouth, and it's just like it begins eating it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so
He's gonna be a tech boy.
I walk away.
I need to
And
teach
I'm
it
done with
Elvish
this
attack
conversation.
words.
gonna teach it sick
I've
balls.
seen the tumultuous relationship you have. I don't know that it's gonna do anything. You
Okay, so you guys are marched towards the center thoroughfare. Once in the center thoroughfare, you notice most people get out of your way rather quickly.
Well, as quickly as a secondary can.
Yeah, make a perception check.
Sure.
Do I catch that?
Actually, I guess make an insight check would be smarter.
Fair.
Do I catch it?
Are you running up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
stop
catch
and
it.
think
Sure?
and then-
11. You get the sense that a couple of people look kind of scared of the presence in the guard. They seem like a little put off and trying to like avoid.
Honestly, I gathered that by how they entered the building.
So
I was
you're
literally ready to put an arrow through that commander's eye.
you're marched up to
And I
this
was like, this is
lovely
close.
looking
This out.
this very lovely looking ornate wooden sort of balcony on the front that kind of leads into this grandiose entrance of surprisingly what is a relatively, I guess, modernized keep. It seems to be almost built like a luxury home or a mansion, reinforced with this stonework that's intricately done, but old and weathered. It seems to have a long history to it. Obviously, it doesn't seem to have the cliche sort of like fortifications that a typical keep does. It's more like flat, smooth stone with a wood worked roof that's flat on top. That seems to have rain runoff along the sides or whatever. But as you approach, it looks lovely. The double doors are these thick, heavy wooden doors that are currently propped open this early in the morning, and they have laid out like this very nice carpet that kind of works its way down the stairs. And you notice from looking at it, it probably wasn't here last night or yesterday. It's just now being like kind of positioned out there. There seem to be attendants on either side waiting. This old man and an old woman seem to be like waiting very patiently. They bow very deeply as the procession walks through. And as you're led into the main hallway. Yeah, I'm saying you caught up. You're basically hanging out with Ra right now.
Before that, though, I'd like to just be like, "You okay?" Like bounce around to see.
Oh, to Barrel?
Yeah. I don't
She kind
know.
of like turns around and she's like,
Do you trust this guy?
I don't. She's kind of like, I don't know.
They're
Never
here
met.
to take her to the keep because they don't like that she was staying at the inn.
I get that. But does she trust this guy? I feel like
If she doesn't work here,
Okay.
you need to get supplies. I'm going to hand her 4 platinum.
Whoa. Okay.
4 supplies for
How
me.
much I have.
This one.
Just
This one.
Just you.
I know how much supply should cost.
I'm
Okay.
going to overcharge you here. Just
So you're led into the main
Okay.
hallway, this long sort of procession. You can see that there's various doors that have all been pinned open that all seem to lead in the same direction. You're basically led through all of these doors leading up to the center stage, but all of the main building functions seem to be off to the sides. There are doors that are currently open leading into kitchens, into like what appear to be like meeting rooms and banquet halls and things like that, but they're all pushed to the side, almost like this thing is precariously placed to almost let the Duke's basically like his throne room or his meeting room be epicenter to the cliff face itself. Geographically, you're getting this sense of this kind of like climbing. You go up a level, go up a level, go up a level. And as you guys are marched, the guards begin to come off in stages, and they begin to kind of set up in like, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2
formation?
here. Yeah, each on different levels. And ultimately, the commander being the last one left, he walks you directly up to this sort of center, almost circular room with a big, beautiful stained glass window. Doesn't seem to have a pattern or a picture. It's just multiple colors that kind of bleed in this light from the coast that just like illuminates the floor in front of this wooden-looking chair. Not necessarily a throne, but big and comfortable-looking wooden chair. Where currently residing is a tall, muscular, with a dense-looking frame, like this like rock-hard muscle almost of a person. He wears a white high-collared coat with silver trim green accent over his broad shoulders. He appears to be young for his age, but it's almost deceptive. Like, you get the sense that he's easily over 40, but he looks young, like, naturally, almost like he's either worked out or he's in good shape. He has this thick, dark black hair that seems to push back naturally, almost like it's all being pushed away from his face, revealing a broad forehead and like these heavy-looking features, thick. He has a naturally flat and lifeless looking face, like almost like the dead eyes, you know, and this like pursed sort of like flat mouth. He has a stubbled chin currently right now. He seems a little tired, like almost like maybe he worked out this morning kind of appearance to him.
Maybe this protein shaken.
He wears a white silken shirt beneath his coat, clean-looking brown pants tucked into knee-high riding boots. And as he kind of sits there, he's leaned to one side in the chair, and he kind of like eyes everyone as they begin kind of marching in. And he just kind of sits there. And there's this pause where you kind of hit the probably about 20 or so feet from him, you know, and they like stop. The guard bows very deeply, and he's like, introducing Duke Rufus Kellington, Duke of Galloren. The Baroness Biro Black Mountain of Gromber. And he like steps away, and there's a definitive pause where everyone's just kind of waiting for this for whatever happens to happen.
What's the fucking robot?
When the Duke is introduced, I will bow.
You bow. He just kind of sits there, and you notice he's hard to read. He has like no outward expressions. He has this like sort of flat.
Rufus who?
Rufus Kellington. It's almost like you know those people who work out like too much. He has like very dense muscles over like his skin looks tightly stretched over it, and he seems actually pretty jacked for
professional bodybuilder type.
Yeah. He has that like frame that goes up.
He's like a strong man.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of like a slightly less jacked Gaston, right? Like it looks it doesn't look like somebody who works out. It looks like somebody who's naturally just fucking huge.
Not like Bane.
Correct. No, he's not that big. He's got that old man muscle.
Old man muscle.
Okay.
So he's just kind of like sitting there, and there's like this deafening pause of nothing as he looks over, and he's just like, and then he stands up, and he stretches a little bit, and then he bows, and he's just like, Lady Black Mountain, welcome to my home. And then he begins walking down the steps a little bit. The like 2 steps that kind of make his, you know, his chair slightly elevated in the room. And he comes down, and then he shakes her hand. She bows, kind of confused, and he's like, we've actually met several times. Most recently was at the ball. If I had known you were going to be coming by my city, you could have teleported with me. I'm quite ashamed that I did not ask. And then he kind of like begins looking. He looks to you, and he looks to you, and he's just like, retainers, I presume?
Hello, yes.
Fortunately, we didn't know we would be stopping here.
Neither did I. Until this morning, when word reached me.
We were forced to take a detour.
Explain.
Sure, we came across the savannah. It was very pleasant until it wasn't. About halfway through our journey, we were attacked by something. We didn't see the first ones. There was the hurricane, of course. I'm sure you heard of it coming through. It caught us flat out on the land. It was overturned our cart. So that was a setback. We got it back up and running. And then some flaming things came out of the the brush. They were on fire and they were alive, like a salamander. Additionally, there were flying things that seemed to speak to each other. I don't speak that language. I don't know. I can speak a couple, but and then we were attacked. As we took a slight detour, and we were attacked by lizard men, a large group of them actually, and they had a druid or a shaman or a sorcerer, I'm not sure, but he did some of that. And there were several foot soldiers, and there was a large. Have you ever had the pleasure of seeing a crocodile or an alligator?
I have.
It was like one of those, but standing. Very oversized and very tough. We ended up having to turn it to stone in order to stop it from killing us. And we barely escaped our lives. It did take one of our companions. But we made it away, and we decided that the best route to take was through here in order to restock and resupply, as we didn't think we could make it through the mountain pass with the heavy interactions we were having with the locals who were unfriendly.
Excellent. You notice that as you were talking, he motioned to another person who immediately kind of comes up, and as he does, he's like, go to my study and retrieve the images of the attackers. Your name?
My name is Theta Tertius,
Well,
number
nice to meet you.
019.
Nice to meet you, Theta. My compatriot here if you don't mind, we'll take you to show you some imagery if you could identify the creatures for us.
Happily.
And then at which point you notice this attendant, this like older gentleman, kind of like, right this way, sir.
I'll turn to Beryl and go, I will be back shortly. Scream if you need me.
She's like, okay, nods. At which point he turns to you and he's like, your name?
Rashid.
Rashid, nice to meet you. Now then, your companion tells me, as you guys kind of like meander off, he's like, your companion tells me that you lost someone on your journey.
Unfortunately, we did.
That is most egregious. Do you happen to remember where you were? I might send out guards to retrieve the body, if necessary, to give him proper rights.
Unfortunately, it was
that way.
Do you have anyone that might have known the route?
Yes.
We do, actually.
If you were able to provide that individual for me, I would be more than happy to send out a small band to collect the individual for you.
Should be along shortly with others.
So, whenever he arrives.
Should be making his way.
He kind of nods. You notice that every time he like smiles or anything, it's just kind of like it returns immediately to this like resting bitch face kind of thing that he has going on. At which point he turns to the Baroness and he's just like, Lady Baroness, my wife will be in shortly. If you would like to freshen up, then we may eat breakfast. Of course, I'm not sure if you're. Have you eaten today yet?
Not.
Have you eaten anything other than some sort of dried meat? Then we will prepare something for you. You will have to excuse the sparsity, as we have most of our guard is currently preparing for any sort of siege or attack. So with them come peasant levies and conscripts. So we are quite busy, as it were. And then I'm guessing you're in as well, correct?
No, I took off.
She didn't want
Oh, you ran away?
No,
She
I was
didn't
just there.
Just runs away.
No.
Sees all the guards and goes, no!
Also,
I'm in the wrong neighborhood.
Let me see something really quick.
You got walked out. You just walked in the wrong neighborhood. Stuck in my head.
Right.
I'm trying to see if in that pack okay. Those are the cards. Dead guy stuff. Sorry.
Dead guy
Really
stuff.
said that. Rope, grappling hook, water skins. As I'm going back, I would like to dig around in that pack and see if there's any gold in there.
Elvin's back.
Elvin's back.
Make an investigation check.
3 copper.
It's actually sewn into the lining. Ha ha!
It's a 7.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I keep
7.
thinking your 7s or 2s.
Well, on this dice is specialist.
Yeah.
7. What did you say, investigation?
Yep.
8.
You find a single gold, 3 copper, and 3 silver.
Alright, you ain't got no money. Ha ha!
When I would
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, exactly. When I would like to, when I find that 3 copper.
3 silver.
I would like to go as I'm going down the hill behind like a building or something at some point, and like make sure, like look around, and then shake the pack out on the ground and start like
Digging through it, okay.
Yeah.
Carefully, meticulously.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, very, very
So-
much
Where's
so.
the rest of your money,
Yeah.
Elvin?
Work, bro.
You dead piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, as you guys wait, you're the only one who sees a very lovely young lady approaches from the from outside of this sort of meeting hall. One of the side doors opens, and she comes out. This beautiful human woman, well proportioned with a large chest and wide hips. She wears fine clothing that appear to be designed to be revealing. The sort of like long V-neck that reveals a much of her.
Does it go to belly button?
Yeah, like down to like
Oh,
almost
she has
like
a deep V.
yeah, almost down to like her
Belly
almost
button.
down to her belly button. She has this long sort of hair that's all kind of like pulled and brushed to one side. These dark colored eyes, like brown, and then like this blackish hair. She seems pale, and she just kind of like smiles. At which point, the Duke turns to the woman, and he's just like, "Everyone, this is my wife, Lady Tessa Kellington, the Duchess. And if you would, Lady Beryl, please." And then she kind of like approaches. She's like, "It'll be my pleasure," and she kind of like leads her out. And then he stands there for a moment, and he looks to you, and he's like, "Feel free to make yourself at home until the breakfast is served. The servants will be tending to that." At which point, you're kind of like not ushered out by any means, but like the guard waits for you, and he seems to walk with you as you exit, and then he closes the door behind him as the Duke's just standing there. So, you two,
Well,
3.
I'm out there.
do want to
to give
Oh,
there's
that-
shit on the
before I
ground.
leave
Uh huh.
and ask the Duke, because he has so much fortification outside.
Mhm.
what are they hoping to prevent coming in? It's basically, I just want to ask what he's hoping to defend himself against.
As he's standing there, he's preliminary reconnaissance has revealed that they have a strong presence of lizard creatures in the area. So we provide them an avenue in, and then I crush them when they arrive.
They have a... They can dig. They're very good at digging their way in. So be careful of that. Be mindful of that. Your outer area might be a little bit more accessible. And we did see a lot of things that were on fire on the way in here. Being a coastal city, you get a lot of rain, so it may not be as much of an issue. But take precaution towards it.
He nods and thank you. I will factor that into my planning. At which point you're ushered out. And he seems to head off in another direction, walking out of the chamber. You can hear his boots kind of clicking as he exits. All right, so you two, as you're meandering about, what are you looking for?
We are looking for a store that sells supplies, a general store, if we might.
You're looking for a general store. Well,
Well-
it's just so lucky that I know one you can find.
If it doesn't say the word general, something that a pictograph that might.
All it says on it is goods.
It's the GG store.
Good enough.
You stop for a minute. You see that there's clearly a goods store. You notice on the ground as you walk by that there's a poorly scrawled script that says Witch's Cauldron. It's been thrown on the floor, kind of discarded. And as you kind of approach, there's a couple kids that are like, and then they run off, like giggling. As you open the door, you open the door. It's open. It doesn't seem to be locked or anything. The lights are all kind of turned on. As far as like the candles are kind of low, and you just hear this.
Hello.
And as you say hello, you can see the room is open. It's primarily all just like goods, just kind of like haphazard, and there's just an old lady sleeping in her stool.
I'll approach her and call hello a couple more times. A bit louder.
What? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi there.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're looking to restock some supplies.
Morning.
Oh, certainly. What are you looking for?
Oh, all manner of things. Well, firstly,
Can I have my money?
yes, and I will hand Zongak all of his money.
Okay, how much money did you
And
have?
that Zongak
Comes
is,
out to.
carry the two. Does anybody have an abacus?
International Bank of Zongai.
That's gonna be 481 copper,
Okay.
He spent all his money on that horse.
120 silver,
Okay.
I don't know.
229 gold,
Um,
and 3 platinum.
if I don't find any more gold, I'll
229
everything back in.
gold.
Anything interesting in the pack other than that?
No, just the things I already listed for you.
I figured I'd have a
American
lot.
venturing stuff.
Thank you.
He's
Well,
American.
I got you enough potions, and I was like, well, I don't want him to be completely broke like I am, so.
Oh, did you?
So, hand you all your money. The lady's just kind of sitting there as you like pile this gold into the goblin's hand. She's
Sorry
like,
about that. Can we
I
get
just hope it opened my
some
purse.
rations? And then do you know where we can find waterproofing gear, tents, traveling cloaks?
oh yes. And then she kind of like turns around and she begins walking, and she's like, you see her like go over to one this like bundle of things, and she's like, this tent here, and she like opens it, and it's kind of like flopping, pieces are falling out. She's like, I got a couple of them.
Good.
You want one?
You
Would you like a
can
tent?
Too.
Oh shit, where'd that piece go again? Kind of like grabs another one, puts it in there.
3 actually.
She's kind of like gathering up the pieces of it. She's like, oh, there's one.
I'm just standing in
Thank
the
you.
doorway. I don't want to.
Here's another one.
Okay.
And then she like looks around for a minute.
Take in the goods store.
She starts like knocking over some of her own stuff, like pushing it out of the way, and then she's like, there's another one. Here you are.
Fantastic. All right.
What else would you like?
We're going to need rations. Quite a few of them.
Oh, those might be in the storehouse. Well, how many?
100.
Well, I don't think I have that many.
As many as you've got then.
Well, let me go look. And then she turns around and starts walking. She walks into the back. She opens the door, kind of like disappears for a moment.
Zygak, I may need some financial assistance with this.
She has all my money.
While I'm walking back to wherever I saw them. I want to be looking at other, like, what other stores and stuff I see.
Okay. There's blacksmith, whitesmith, mason, fletcher, tanner, tailor, shoemaker, butcher. You pass by the inn.
Butcher.
Exactly.
I stop at the butcher.
Okay.
Is it open?
It is currently open.
I'll go in.
All right.
I need enough meat to feed 2 griffins.
So, as you enter, it is a basically empty shop with a large board behind the counter, and on it there is just written poundage and different types of meat.
What are the meats?
They have deer, horse, elk.
Horse. Okay.
They have chicken. They have pig.
Like horse meat.
Elk?
Huh?
I like
Is it like deer or horse meat?
Elk.
It likes horse meat. Is its favorite. Elk is just close enough.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
He doesn't like
How
horses.
much are the prices?
Per pound are in the player's handbook.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Just go to the
I
trade
don't
goods
know.
section and it tells you how much they are
I
per
got that
pound.
if you want to look around for us and stuff.
But that's what that has. So she ends up coming back and she's just like carrying this like they're pre-packaged sort of like things and she's like dumps a bunch of them on the floor. I got some more. And she walks away again. Just like,
Do you want some help carrying those?
no, dear, I can't let you know what's in the old store. But yes, come on, help me. And then
Okay.
she like walks away. You walk behind her. She leads you out through this back. There's a back room that's basically her bedroom, and then you're exited out of the actual building into a storeroom in the back that's currently wide open. And she like you just see rows and rows of like random accoutrements stacked on shelves, and she begins like funneling rations. She's like carting them off the shelf into your hands. And then she grabs some too. Probably about 30 total, but just like holding all of you, just like walk back in together. She drops like 1 or 2 along the way. Damn it.
Just kicks it.
Yeah, trade goods section. It's right after the items.
No, that was back there, right?
This is the trade goods section.
Yeah, it'll be a tiny menu on the side though.
Yeah, it's like a little box.
I saw.
Did you? Did it have? Should have prices on there.
Yeah. Okay. You show me where it is on there.
No, I'm just saying I found the trade goods section.
Oh, it doesn't have
This
the.
is the trade goods section. That's what I'm saying.
Turn the page.
Wash your hands.
Eh.
Turn the page. Wash your hands. Turn the page. Then you wash your hands.
The trade goods
No.
section was only like this big, but it didn't have any meat.
Oh, it didn't have the
No.
actual.
There's no-
It had, like, a
Interesting, I
table,
thought
but,
it
like,
did.
It was like wheat and stuff. There's
Well,
a.
then we'll.
I can tell you how much saffron costs.
This
How
is-
much does
A
a
pound
whole
of saffron or 1 ox.
Yeah, you
this
want an ox?
says- This thing says meat 3 SP.
3 silver. There you go. 3 silver pieces for what, a pound, right?
It just says meat.
I'll say 3 silver per pound.
3 silver per
So there you go. That is a fine.
I'm not saying anything about.
Total, she has 30. She has 30 rations silver.
There's just
Fantastic.
that one table.
Yeah.
3 tens, 30 rations.
Then there's how rich you want to be per day.
10,
That should be fine.
10 silver.
That's fine. Zongak, do you think there's anything else that we need?
I can take the price.
Could I get a bag?
Yes.
Divide
Yes, you
some
can.
money.
Certainly. Like a backpack.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
about 3
She grabs one off the wall
right?
and she dumps it out. Just like shit starts coming out of it. And she's
Oh.
like,
Oh, jeez.
here you go.
Thank you.
3 gold would be the
Fantastic.
Give her a platinum.
Oh, would be?
Thank you.
Oh, that's
first
right.
even amount you get.
It's a weird looking silver.
That
Puts
is
in her
a-
pocket.
That is actually a platinum, ma'am.
Right.
3 silver per
What?
pound.
That's a platinum.
Oh my. That's what this is?
Yes.
Never seen one of them
It's
before.
worth quite a bit.
And
And
had to spend 1 gold on it. Yeah.
if you'd let me know how much this is, we can
Okay.
figure out just how much that covers.
Can I see that book for her?
Yeah. Here.
For him?
Do you want to open trade goods?
This
Yeah,
is going
that's
to be my meat bag.
Hold on.
Go ahead and do the
Do
calculation,
we
sir,
want
because I'm not going to.
meat for the griffins, or did we want meat for everybody?
I mean, Griffins first, and then everybody.
Okay.
If we could train them to hunt.
Oh no, I'm going to try
Okay,
and feed
make an intelligence check, please.
Roll a d20. Just
One.
pick which one you want to betray you. Perfect.
Just an intelligence or intelligence?
History.
Oh, history. 14.
14. You remember that they seem to be satisfied after about 4 rations, which is they require 4 pounds of meat per day in order to be not hungry.
Okay. Each, right?
Correct, each.
I like it.
So if you spent 3 gold on it.
And
And
3
so
silver.
forth.
I will do that. As soon as I get money, I'll stop using
Take your
them.
bootstraps and pull yourself up by them.
Or go ask your friends to borrow money.
I will, but they're not with me. So for now,
Well, I'm standing in the middle of the street.
Or,
staring into a
use some
doorway.
of the money that I gave you.
You told me to only use that for yourself.
Yeah, but how well are you gonna listen to me?
I'm gonna listen
Head
to you.
started.
Yeah, 1 platinum is 30 pounds or 10 pounds of meat.
I'm not gonna
Right.
do that. I
You
can
could
get
also
4
just
pounds.
tell me that you did that, and
No.
I don't know. I'll get 4 pounds of horse meat for now.
4 pounds of horse meat. All right. So, you grab 4 pounds. 12 gold, right?
1 gold, 3 silver.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
one gold,
there
2
you go.
silver.
yeah.
So there you go.
1 gold, 2 silver, because it's 9
Oh, that's
gold,
right.
9
Yeah.
silver for
All right.
10 pounds.
There you
It's
go.
gonna be
I was
23
counting
gold
that
total.
other
Okay.
one piece.
So we've got 1 platinum.
Mhm.
I will give her a platinum.
Okay.
Oh, you come back.
300 copper.
Very nice of you. She's like, sweet. She seems to be stoked that she got like so much. You know, she's like, I'm killing it today. Just fill up her little purse. She takes it over to the counter. She starts counting. She gets to like 6, and then she just scoops it back in the bag. And realizes she didn't care enough. Like, my life's a lie. Anyway, what are you kids up to?
Oh, adventuring.
That's an ugly little boy.
He.
That's the first time anybody's called me a boy.
no.
Would you like a
it's
lollipop?
good thing to say
Yes,
as a
please.
kid.
All right, where the hell? She starts like knocking some stuff away from the floor. I saw one in here a minute ago. One second, and then she like starts knocking it away and then pulls out. Here you are, little man.
Thank you.
Do we need anything else?
Everything.
Okay.
I feel like we're good.
Don't.
Is that
worry
everything?
about it, I'm
I
good.
think that's all we need, man.
I
Thank
think
you.
you got an infection.
I have.
I don't know
Something,
if
yes.
he's trying to look
It's
special
pretty
when
gross.
you plant that thing,
Yes.
so it's like,
You
well,
want some oil for that?
I don't think oil will help.
He needs snake oil.
I need a priest,
Well, that too.
but
That's snake oil right here. She
I-
pulls out a bottle of
She's a
it.
snake oil
I give
salesman.
her another platinum.
oh,
Here you go.
please stop, Zongak.
Snake oil's a real thing, right? Like an actual real thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Zongak, don't give her those.
I rolled a d20 and she actually had it. I rolled a 19. Like, is it in the store? It's in the store now.
Was it? Maybe
I
not.
put it into his pouch.
It wasn't before. It is now.
He's gonna face on the big boy on
All right. So, you kids gonna be here long?
No, we'll probably be leaving today, tomorrow at the latest.
Oh, well, that's too bad. It's a lovely, lovely city this time of year.
It is, but we've got trails to blaze, adventures to have.
Are you guys here to look at the ghost ship?
Tell me more. Tell me
Go
more.
on.
I don't trust that little marble. Okay.
Well, I don't know how true it is. People just been saying that there's been a ghost ship off the harbor the last couple days. It's pretty cool. I haven't seen it.
Don't worry, Mom.
A
We'll get
ghost
to it
ship, you
again
say?
eventually.
It's pretty cool. I thought that's what you were there for. That's what adventures do, right? They go on.
You're darn tootin' it is.
Which direction?
It's off the coast. It only appears at night.
What time at night? Late night?
No, like as soon as night. It's been freaking people out. Navy went over there. People went missing, and then they kind of like left it alone. They didn't. Now they've just been kind of watching it. It's been appearing.
I see. Thank you.
Sure. Sure.
And then we'll start making our way out.
You guys want something to eat? You guys hungry? I can make some food.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh wow! Come on back. And then she like leads you into her tiny
Oh, this house
bedroom
looks like it's made of candy.
with a little.
Take him up. Go. Be good. And I'm gonna slowly lead him in.
You lead him in. He's just kind of like looking at stuff, licking stuff off the floor.
No!
I give him some of the lollipop. I take it back.
He just
You know,
like
a pig's mouth is cleaner than your mouth.
he's just like getting pulled along with you. He's just like trying to look at stuff, you know, like
I
a
mean,
dog. He's like,
It's probably cleaner than his mouth.
so.
I don't think
You
Zongak
you guys
has
are brought into the back. There's nowhere to sit except the bed, but you're brought in this tiny little bedroom, and there's like an iron stove. And she starts like, she goes outside, and then she's like, I left the store open. Shit. Kind of like looks around for anybody, and then she like grabs some eggs and stuff out of there and locks it up, comes back, makes you guys a little eggs and toast,
Nice.
preps it all out for you guys. Yeah,
I
little
give
breakfast.
half of mine to.
She's talked to you. Anything you want to ask her about or talk to her about?
Well, we got the ghost ship.
You did get the ghost ship.
Is there a tailor in town?
There is a tailor in town, yes. There's also... Well, what are you looking for specifically?
Well, we're looking for traveling cloaks. We ran into a bit of rain on the way out here.
There's actually someone who makes cloaks. There's a stall for it.
Oh.
But there's a textile person in town.
I see.
And a tailor. There's a fancy tailor. Just don't. I mean, everyone should be here. Most of the old bones are still here.
I see.
Just the young ones ain't here no more. They went off to fight in a war.
As you do.
Or whatever it is. Whatever we're doing now.
Can I take a moment because I just figured something out? Our DM has created a town entirely full of people who he can voice easily.
No.
I need a more complicated elderly voice.
No.
Like a dry one.
No. That's not what happened at all.
It's his favorite voice.
It's my favorite.
It's a
He
whole
got
town
upset
full
with
of
me for
that.
saying that.
I am upset. Anyway.
All your old people sound the same. He's like, that's not
All
true.
old people sound the same.
So, you guys eat. You guys hang out. You asked her about
Directions, that kind of stuff.
She points you in all the ways to get to like the stalls where
Is
they
there
sell.
a person that could fix leather? Because I skinned something and it smells bad.
She points you to in the direction of the tailor.
Fair.
Or not the tailor, the tanner. Sorry. He can help you.
Oh, thank you.
And then she goes through and does her thing.
Well, we'll thank her for the food, and we will depart towards the tanner first, and then make our way to the vendors' stalls.
Okay.
Bazaar. Marketplace.
All right. So.
Do I make it that way?
Yeah, I would say that during your kind of run around, you've managed to.
I don't hear a pig rooting around in the shop.
Yeah, you'd hear some squeaking and shit.
We had breakfast.
Locked by that point?
Huh?
Are they eating by then?
No, since you've taken a while, they've like eaten and kind of like got some conversation out, and then they pop out. They seem better. They just seem in better spirits.
Damn it.
You have no idea.
They smell like eggs.
And a lollipop.
They smell like delicious. Yeah, Zongat's still eating a lollipop.
Because he is a good little boy.
Yep, even Ham Hock was behaved.
Okay. You make your way towards the tanner. You using the directions that she gave you. Rough estimate. She did kind of give you a lot of them, so it's kind of hard to remember. But you make your way to the tanner, opening up the shop. You find yourself inside of a dimly lit, but smells of tanning solutions, sort of these like stains and such. And there are currently over racks. There are like stretched leather. And behind the counter, you see this gentleman. Mid-40s probably, black hair, salt and pepper, starting to like kind of edge into that like 50s, getting older, but portly gentleman who's just kind of sitting there and he's like, "Hey, what can I do for you?"
I pull it off me.
Have you ever heard the trope "rocks fall and you die"? Keep it up.
No, please, DM.
They're gonna be doing a fucking training trebuchet run that goes horribly wrong.
Feel any better? I wrote Salt and Pepper's hair, so there. It's not the same.
It's from a wolf that had spikes on its back. Can I flip it around?
Oh. Kind of like takes it from you. He holds it up and he's like, "Spikes in my face." Oh Jesus.
I did not plan this.
You want me to clean this up and?
Yeah, I don't know when we're leaving, but it's probably going to be soon. If there's a way we could treat it.
It's going to take a couple days for me to get it. I mean, I can start the process, but it's not going to stick if you don't.
We'll probably be back.
Okay.
There's a ghost ship.
So if you want me to start it, I can start it for you.
Okay, we might be back in like a month.
You can just pay on delivery, because if you die horribly, I'm just going to sell this. So
Okay.
gives you like solid thumbs up. At which point he kind of sets it off to the side and he's like, "Yeah, no problem. Can I just get a name?"
Zongak.
Whatever. He like completely
You ain't
misspelled,
gonna be
but you don't know. And then he just like sets it next to it on a little piece of paper and he's like, "Anything else? You need anything?"
No, sir.
Something wrong with your eye, man?
Yes, there's a lot wrong with my
All right,
eye.
fair enough. That's why that's the hat, eh?
Somebody farted in his eye and it got infected.
There you go.
Yeah, that's bad. Take it to the medicine man. Telling you.
I'll
We
hit
don't
him
have
up.
one in town. That was a
Oh,
joke.
that was rude.
So,
I think to the medicine man means drag it out behind the shed and
right?
shoot it.
Fucking
I mean, I have other characters,
get
but
hobbled.
Stop.
So,
I don't want to do that.
you've managed to catch back up with him. You see him entering into the tanner shop, sort of like a sign with like a stretched square on it. That's pretty much all it is.
What did you guys get at the
Oh, yes, here. And I will toss her 2 tents.
Okay.
Do you have things to anchor the tents?
They're kits.
They are kits.
Yes.
Kits.
Turn
It's
the
in
box
it's
over
in
and
the
look at
bundle.
Huh?
It's in the bundle.
There's no box. It's all kind of like bound up.
I imagine like, you know.
And I will hand you 5 rations.
I'll feel around when they're like hooks to hook it in the ground.
Yeah, there's little pinions in there to hammer in.
Okay.
But you don't have a hammer.
Right.
Wait, you do have a hammer. Never mind. I'll take that back.
Tiff,
What?
you also get 5 rations.
Okay.
You also get 5 rations.
Zongak?
Yes.
I put that in not the meat sack.
Okay.
In the not meat
Not in the not meat sack. Got it. So, you guys exit out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Next up on the list.
We're going to head to the stalls.
Head to the stalls and looking for.
Mostly traveling cloaks.
Okay, cloaks. There is actually, as you make your way out and you begin kind of meandering through the city, you make your way to where they have most of the stalls set up. You notice about like 10 or so kind of all laid up. There's ones with produce and vegetables. There's meats.
Did you find any hunting traps?
Not yet. I figure we'll hit the blacksmith for that.
Oh, I go to the vegetable stand and just grab a handful of everything.
Okay, it'd probably be just like carrots, potatoes, things like that. So
He's a pig. He'll eat it all.
turnips. We'll say
Radishes.
5 silver per bundle that you grab.
Would they have rations at the butcher?
No, they don't dry them there. That's fresh. It's for that's like they deliver and stuff. That meat. That's all like for the city.
You probably convince him to do it though.
However, there's a meat stall. There's also another gentleman who is a hunter who sells his meats from his kills.
Nice.
Huh? No, it's not prepped food. It's like raw. It's stuff that he recently caught.
Okay.
Those ones he can probably dry for you as you're like walking through the stalls and seeing stuff. He has it all currently laid out on like these wooden boxes.
So since we're looking at all this,
Is there a
what else do we
Galloren's
still want to get?
gourmet
get-
jerky?
Well, I bought all the rations the general store had, but I feel like at this point we could probably always benefit from having more meat.
I got 4 pounds of meat, horse meat for a griffin. It's only enough for like 1 day.
Why didn't you get more?
I didn't have more money.
Take me to the store.
Yeah. We'll go get enough food for everything.
Okay.
And then
Later.
so we need.
Traveling cloaks?
You should check that the meat stall and see if he's selling it for cheaper than the butcher.
There you go.
Could you get me a cloak? Because I feel naked without my wolf pelt.
Of course.
And I give him a platinum.
Okay.
Thank you,
What else
Zonkag.
do we need? Hunting traps, and then anything else?
No, I think that should cover it.
Did we get coal?
Also,
already?
could we get... Never mind.
Well, that's what the traveling cloaks are for.
Whoa.
Get the elven kind because I heard it makes you go invisible.
We'll see what we can do, man.
Cloak of invisibility.
Okay.
You have to say I solemnly swear I'm up
Do
to
you
no good.
want us to run around and do all these things, or do you want to just?
We'll divvy
Huh?
it up. I'll look for cloaks. You check out the meat
Okay,
stall. can go
you
take care of the-
encounter at the stalls. You encounter a woman by the name of Vedis. She seems to have a stall. Vedis. She seems to have a stall set up with just a series. It's basically like a hanging rack, and she stands next to it of all manner of different cloaks. They're all dyed different colors. To save time and brevity, there's none that seem to be magical in any way. They're just cloaks.
That's cool. Isn't it?
They all seem to have a manner of like water resistance to them.
Excellent.
They have hoods, without hoods. They have just the mantles.
5 hooded traveling
Well-
cloaks, ideally
Okay.
waterproof.
I'll
As
give me
waterproof.
some money for his stuff too.
Okay.
So
Well, we
if
need
you
to
don't want to pay
find.
for that.
We'll see how much it is.
They are 20 gold a pop. So 5
Yeah.
of them.
That's 2 platinum piece.
Oh.
All right. Fair enough.
1 plat.
Since we're buying 5.
Pay for all of it.
Hey.
So,
2 for raw, so his is gone, right? And then I'll drop 8 platinum for the other ones.
Okay, sure, that's 10. That is 100 gold pieces.
platinum left.
She takes it, seems quite happy with the thing. She lets you pick from pretty much anything you want, style-wise, appearance-wise.
She just has cloaks, right?
Yeah, they're all different colors.
I will pick
No, like
5 muted ones.
No, she just has cloaks.
just like-
I'll take 5 muted ones, probably black or dark brown,
Okay,
something that
that's
doesn't stand.
the ones she has the most of.
Yeah, or
black or-
green.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Yeah.
bloody thing.
Yeah, but we're not gonna always be on the savannah.
No,
So
but
that's
I mean,
mostly
that's
what
what I
we
mean.
would catch.
That dark green, you know, or the muted green.
Yeah,
which
just
much
muted.
better than black.
I'll make sure that we're all just
Black looks like a shadow. Green, really.
Yeah.
They're the same color as the background.
That works.
I'm trying to think of another vegetable.
Huh?
It's just vegetables.
Rutabaga.
Carrot.
cabbage,
Potatoes.
Cabbage.
Onion.
Cabbage.
Sounds like
celery, asparagus.
A legume. No, I'm sorry.
Christopher
I-
Reeves.
I just wanted to say legume.
Serrano peppers.
Oh, good. I don't think anybody got that.
Okay.
Okay, so you grab the cloaks.
I mean,
She
Superman.
disappearing slowly.
Yeah.
She hands you over the cloaks. You got that. Mr. Theta, you are led into a room where a gentleman basically he begins pulling out images. You see a younger man actually in his probably like.
what's the room look like?
You're brought into basically what appears to be a study. This sort of like large oaken desk. There are bookshelves that line the walls. There's a fireplace in here and large picturesque windows that basically view out into what you now notice is this house is not protected by the wall. It's actually leaning over the actual cliff itself. So you're basically suspended. So you have this beautiful view out of the study of basically like sand and then the ocean. A whole line of them, all
I'm gonna
long
walk
and
over
tall
to
ones.
them, and I'm gonna pull out the sprocket. I'm gonna set him down on the windowsill so he faces out the window.
Okay.
And then I'll turn my attention to whoever the fuck's in the room.
Okay. The older gentleman kind of basically engages with the younger, probably 15, 16-year-old young man. Hair's all kind of a mess. He's like your average teenager. He is actually well dressed, but he seems uncomfortable in it, almost like he was told to wear this and he doesn't really want to. But he has these large scrawling drawings of various creatures. He has the fire salamanders, the part of the steeders or the striders, some lizard men that he is kind of like hastily worked through, and he's basically has notes on each one, things that have been observed so far. And he kind of looks at you, and the attendant's like, "Oh, if you would just tell him the things you observed," and
I'm gonna go over and take the drawings out of his hands.
he's like, at which point you,
Fire one.
yeah.
No. Ooh, that one. What do I see out of the drawings that I saw?
You see
The
one.
flappy ones?
You do see a drawing of the flappy ones. You see the salamander people. You see.
I'll give him an approximation of how many we saw when we saw them.
He takes little notes, like these little he leaves some things out, but he seems to be mostly focused on what their capabilities are. What you tell him that they burn up in the rain and stuff like that, and he begins.
And I'll also tell him that a gentleman with us, the one who can tell the Duke where our fallen companion was, will also be able to tell him where these events took place, where these encounters took place.
Okay. He nods, and then he asks the guy. He's like, "Oh, could you give me the map, please?" And the gentleman walks away and comes out with an Galloren map and unfolds it. At which point the kid's like, "Yeah, this one." Rolls it back up, sets it off to the side. But yeah, you talk to him for a brief amount of time.
Do I see the crocodile?
The big black scale one. You do see one that's like dark and shaded very deeply, like this black sort of like big one. Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask him about the scale on that size.
None of the art is drawn to scale.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm gonna ask him what the size of this one is.
The one that he saw,
Yeah.
or the one, yeah, the one
that's drawn.
He was like I don't know, like 10 feet tall maybe.
Does that seem all right?
Yeah, the one you saw was probably about close to 8 feet
Okay,
tall.
I'm gonna tell him we saw one that was monstrous and it was 8 feet tall.
He's like, yeah, they're big. He's like,
Hard to kill. We turned it to stone.
Oh,
what?
pickaxes.
Yeah.
Blacksmith.
And that worked really well, because then it was stone and not trying to bite our faces.
It's like he like writes that down a little. He puts a little note, and he's just like, yeah, they just send me out with the groups, and I just draw what I see, and then
How do you survive?
they send me out with their like scouts, and I just hide, and then they tell me where to go, and I just watch.
I'm gonna ask you again, how do you survive? We were hiding.
They protect me.
Pretty well, but
They
it's a
protect
close
me.
thing.
I don't do anything.
I
just draw.
Sketch?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through and pull a piece of paper and set it down, and then I'd like to describe to him Elven space.
He see his artwork. Make a persuasion check.
Fuck.
See how good you are at describing this.
Hey, that's not bad. So it's a 16, so 16.
His artwork was pretty good. 18. He He begins sketching it out, and it's pretty close. You, if best you can remember, yeah, it's pretty approximate.
I won't have given him any preamble to this. I just want to give it to him and start describing humanoid, this and that.
And he's
go through, and then we finish it. That looks really good. That was our fallen comrade. He faced a lizard man.
He's like, oh, right in the feels.
Thank you. I'm gonna
Just
take it
attach
and
this
roll it up.
oh my goodness, Rock of the Mad, thanks so much for the host. Scared the bejesus out of me. He was shot by magic missile. So you take the scroll from him. He nods. At which point the elder gentleman.
I'm also gonna take a silver, and when I take it from him, I'm gonna slide a hand into his.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
24.
24. Smooth. No one's the wiser
Like butter.
right now. I'm gonna use the
That's
restroom
a-
real
that's a
fast, so you guys
silver
keep
piece.
doing your thing. All right,
So
mark
he
that
said-
down.
He said something about.
We're heading to the blacksmith.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
What are we looking
Pickaxe.
Pickaxes. In case I ever need to turn something.
Shovel.
Shovel.
Hammer.
Oh, hey, a shovel.
Hey, hammer.
You don't really need a hammer.
Do
need a
you fight
mallet.
with anything else?
Oh yeah, not metal.
Wooden hammer.
It's not the same.
Stone hammer?
Why not?
Like,
I'm not
what's her
there.
name?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Ooh,
I'm talking to a
stone.
teenager in a room. It's not creepy. There's an old man with us. This is getting worse.
I can only so
I know you have
Harvey Weinstein, help
you
me.
have what, 2 Kensai weapons?
I do, but one's ranged. And
Does it have to?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
it's very specific.
what's your range one?
Hey, get you a bow.
Maybe buy one of those.
I don't know if it counts because it's got to be like it can't just be like
Any old weapon?
pistol. That's my other range weapon. Sorry.
I don't think you're gonna find one here.
No.
I mean, if you find one here, take it outside of town before you fire it.
Yeah,
'cause
like-
it's just
So my thing, I have to pick very
one shot wonder.
like specific weapons.
You
for
better
each
talk to
thing.
somebody at Corvus ASAP.
Oh yeah. Well, she doesn't really like to fight that way, so she doesn't really.
I mean, then she shouldn't have picked it as her Kensai weapon.
Well, no, I think
Just
she's.
If I had to
saying.
pick a-
I think she's locked into what can be a Kensai weapon.
Yeah, like I have to talk to Thweet, and he's like, okay, this is your Kensai weapon. So like one of them has to be like ranged. So he's like, okay, well this can be your ranged one.
You didn't get an option on that?
I mean that made the most sense. Why did we pick pistol for my Kensai?
Huh?
Why did we pick pistol for?
Because you were more of like a bruiser, not a traditional Kensai. So we went with that because we thought it would be more appropriate for her to be using something that's kind of
You
like.
should get one.
But
But it's
See,
one
Ma,
of the 2 things
everybody
you can use
needs guns.
specially. Go get one. It's
even
important.
if it gets, like, if it's metal, it's
And I'm back.
told you we'll deal with it later.
So?
You're
Yeah.
ultimately exited out of there, and you're brought into the. You're led into the sort of like dining room.
I saw Flappy Birds, right?
Flappy Birds.
Yeah.
The methods.
Yes, you did.
Okay, cool.
Yep, you
I was
just
making sure I saw everything.
You give him some information that he didn't already have.
Cool.
So they.
And about the druids and stuff. And,
Yeah.
And about her dropping her hammer like an idiot. And I'll make it sound like it was her fault for like the first half of the conversation,
And then be like,
explain that
no.
somebody cast a spell on it.
Yep, he marks all that down for you. You are
Kept it for a
also
while.
collected there, Rashid. You're collected as well, kind of like brought in from meandering about the keep, and ultimately brought into the dining room. When you guys are brought in, you notice that Lady Biryl's already waiting for you. She's dressed very finely, almost like emergency tailored. This like outfit specifically for her. It looks comfortable on her.
Is it a DP?
She seems to have like a rather.
Austin Powers curls.
She has like the modest one, and then has like a bodice on underneath. She seems to be wearing some sort of like circlet that she didn't have before, and a necklace that she didn't have before, and she's just kind of like. She looks like almost like that was a little uncomfortable, but okay. And the Lady Duchess is currently sitting in the room as well. And after. Yes. As the food is brought out to you guys, like you all kind of like sit down awkwardly, and you notice the head of the table is empty. At which point, after probably as soon as like the food's brought out, you guys begin kind of eating this feast of sausages and all sorts of eggs and all manner of good food.
I will try one bite of each thing.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't like one.
It all is very, very good, very well prepared. And they kind of pass it through. There's fruits and all sorts of little accoutrements. And then eventually, probably about halfway through the meal, the Duke finally comes in. And as he comes in, he takes his sort of like nice ornate coat off and he sets it on the back of the chair, pulls out the chair and he sits down and begins eating sort of like nonchalantly, like not really saying anything at first. As you guys eat, there's a lull kind of in the meal as you guys kind of like begin to stuff up, and finish up. At which point he's like, so, retinue, retainer, Lady Beryl, I've been going over my strategy for any upcoming threats, and I can spare about 20 units to escort you to your homeland. If you would find this to be easier than using a small band and potentially losing more members, I do have people that are familiar with the area, quite trained, that can escort you plenty all the way home if you find that to be something that would be easier.
I'm gonna look to Lady Girl.
She's kind of like,
why the question?
She's taken aback, but she's like, I mean, that would be wonderful. I mean, putting less people in danger. And as she's kind of like doing that, he's like nodding, and then he's like, of course, we will use my horses. You can use my carriage all the way there. We'll send scouts. We already have people positioned in the field about a couple days' ride from here to give you safe passage. So I don't believe it would be too much of an inconvenience on my part to do such a thing. And I will have it set up this morning. Whenever you wish to leave, you just let us know, and I will send my people out. If you'd like to stay and recover, rest on your laurels for a few days, more than welcome to. The keep is yours. And he looks to you guys. Does that make your life a bit easier?
Yes, well, it does. I would still like to accompany her the whole way. I would like to see her city, and I'm just, it's part of what I'd like to do.
See the job through, of course. If it doesn't inconvenience you too much, it would be a great help.
It doesn't bother me. However, I have a unique position because I have adventures in my city for the first time in ages, and we've lost one group of men to what the villagers are calling a ghost ship, some man or a vessel that's appeared on the horizon for the last few days.
We're at your disposal.
It's a not very good movie.
If you would be inclined to remain here, I would seek some issue. I would certainly put the townsfolk mind at ease to have somebody go and lay this nonsense to rest. I can see it on the horizon every evening whilst I prepare for bed. So if she would like to continue on and you would like to remain behind, I would at least have something for you to do, rather than just sit around. But of course, that is up to you. It is something that has been quite an annoyance for the last few days.
And in the distance,
I mean,
Well, if she's okay with going with them, she's been with us the whole time.
and we have done a
okay.
stellar job.
Oh man, hey, we gained the
Well.
trust though. We gained the trust though. These guys are new to her.
Yeah.
She looks to you guys and she's like, I mean, I'm okay with it. I can have your payment sent here or to Batella, either way, if that's something.
if it's the payment you're concerned, just send it to Patel. We'll make it back there. We don't need it here.
Okay.
That would be unwise in case, because we will definitely move on from this city.
I just want to ensure that you get there safe.
She kind of nods and
I brazenly across the dinner table with everyone there. Theta is going to lean over and slightly conspiratorially. My main concern is that there are political undercurrents that we're not aware of. And in fact, he may want to kill you or to take over power in your home city. And I'm worried that if we let you go with his men, they could just make you quiet in the woods and no one would know.
He's like, I will kill you now.
as she's kind of sitting there, she's like,
You'll make a fine statue.
she like looks back and forth, and she's kind of like doesn't really know what to do. The Duke just kind of like sits there and he's like,
Like,
well, as fun as that sounds, I have no need for it. I'm
This is a really good lollipop.
currently the highest ranking Duke in the country and the oldest. My sister is prior queen of Batella. I have no need for any more power, but I also don't feel the need to justify myself. So,
Yeah. I wasn't asking you.
Whatever the decision is, I will of course leave it up to the Baroness. I just happen to have the spare units for it.
That would
I
come
wanna
with my
check and see
working
if
out
he's
time,
alive.
and I can't afford that.
Got to get my pump in.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
leg day tomorrow.
Turn back to her. So are
can
there
I
any
check
of
and
those
see if he's
political
lying?
undercurrents you might know of, or an uprising?
Make an
Inside
insight
my
check.
village. Maybe.
That would have been so nice if it didn't do the thing.
It's like the story of your
It's not
dice.
bad. You had a decent one.
What is it?
Fucking insight, wisdom.
Insight? Oh shit.
15.
15.
That's not bad. I thought it was gonna be lower.
Got like a 4.
Yeah.
Well, it went from
I got
14
two.
to 20, and then went.
Oh.
14.
Yeah.
You said 14?
Yeah.
15.
15.
Let me double check the NPC stats and make sure. See if there's anything that I need to be worried about.
He explodes if he lies.
Damn it. He's come down.
He turns back into a slug.
Oh no!
Every time he lies.
Oh.
Terrible case.
That is a demon lord.
Yeah, there's a demon lord that does that.
Oh, I
Every
thought it
time
was
he
just
lies,
like,
he turns into a slug.
Like that slutty chick was actually like the brains, and that was like her slug.
She threw it
you-
out in the brains, if you know what I.
He's hard to read with no outward visible expression. He seems to have resting bitch face. He's kind of hard to get a bead on, but nothing, at least so far, has led you to insinuate anything other than what he's saying is what he's saying. So,
I would like to thank him and then turn back to Lady Burl and go, so is there any reason you might like us to accompany you, even if it's for the company?
I don't have any reasoning to keep you any longer.
Fair. So what's this about a ghost ship?
At which point the Duke nods and he's just like, a few nights ago we got reports of a ship in the harbor, obviously full alert. We went in expecting
In the harbor or miles out?
a few miles out, within eyesight.
Okay.
Fearing a potential incursion from the Galloren Navy, again, we took immediate action, surrounded the ship, and found it to be empty. It was and nothing.
Question. What made you readily identify it as a ghost ship?
Let me use that term loosely here. That is something that due to its reoccurrence and the evening, and no one seems to be able to identify where it goes during the day, the
And
townsfolk.
Piloting itself in and out?
Seems that way.
But is there anything unusual about the ship itself, other than the fact that there's no crew, I assume?
It seems dilapidated. There don't seem to be sails, or they're torn and worked, from what my soldiers tell me. And so we sent out, obviously, a rather large naval party, but in order to secure the eastern sea border, we back up cities like Cyrodiil and Batella in securing the line that divides us and Galloren. So we couldn't afford to keep obs on it the entire time. So I've been having a single ship post out there nightly, and a few nights ago, one of my more adventurous naval teams decided to board the vessel via smaller craft, and they did not return.
Any of them?
Any of them. However, the deck and the whole thing was swept once by a large number of men, none of which ever reported anything, and yet the ship still vanished that following morning and returned later the next night. So, with a loss of about 4 men and no seeming identification, we want to see if we can't find somebody that can go figure out what the hell it's doing.
Questions.
Yes.
First, have you attempted to anchor or secure the ship when it comes into port?
I don't believe so, because after the initial run, people are finicky and scared and don't want to re-land.
Fair. Have you sent any messengers to any other port cities to see if this is an occurrence they've observed?
Yes, we're awaiting confirmation return from that. They went out about 4 days ago. I don't expect them to be back.
And finally, long shot, are there any stories of such a ship that you know of that maybe spread among the townsfolk or from bards or in taverns?
Local legends tell of pirates off the southern seas coming up from mist-covered islands, but we've also never discovered mist-covered islands. So, no, we've never had such an occurrence before, so I'm a little bit concerned. Now, if that's something you're interested in partaking in, I can recall the ship.
I believe it is.
And I will send you at least with a moderately armed vessel to get out there, and then you can explore it to your leisure, and then return, hopefully with some more concrete answers, and alleviate, if somebody returns, at least then it'll alleviate the fears of the people in the city.
I know I said finally, but I have a fourth question. How averse are you to us setting the ship on fire?
I have no
Good
I don't
question.
have a care in the world about
That
it.
is a good question.
If the vessel, I mean, my next course of action was to recall at least a couple more ships and just gun it down to the bottom of the ocean.
Fair.
But
Lovely. Thank you.
barring that and the waste of ammunition, in the event of a possible incursion, we are currently under siege from the north, amidst our own heartland, and I fear that our enemies on our borders may use that as an opportunity to lay siege to our coast. So we are at full, as you can tell, the city is primarily empty, which is unusual.
I don't know how much.
Go on.
I don't know how much siege you've endured here, but from our experience, it looks like northern expansion by those groups. That's everything that we saw pointed towards them heading towards Batella.
I have luckily been a part many things. I've fought all manner of enemy on the inside and outside of Alavra, and I've been commanding the forces here for my whole life.
Oh, I meant in this particular skirmish.
Oh, we haven't encountered a large-scale force yet. There have been skirmishes on and off, and you've met the artist.
Yes.
Gathering recon. The more information I have, the more I'm able to apply myself and hopefully work with Matthias when he returns home to the east, because Humblewood is worthless.
Who's got a point?
They don't engage in combat. They don't have a standing military. And Cyrodiil. No, Humblewood does not.
Oh.
Humblewood's like equidistant from the shoreline to the mountains. So, but without the reinforcements of Alavra to the north, we are basically on our own. So, little surprise there. And then you guys eat, and eventually he actually excuses himself slightly before the meal is completed.
Before he leaves, I'm going to ask him, is it possible for me to get back into the room I was in with the sketch artist?
Absolutely.
Oh, lovely.
He kind of like motions to one of the attendants and then just kind of points.
I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to collect Sprocket from the window so he's had enough sightseeing.
Yep, he lets you out. Yoink. Whoop. At which point he leaves. The lady, Tessa, waits a little bit longer, but then ultimately she excuses herself.
I know you're going to say slightly, but I heard slut.
Yeah. Slightly longer.
She waits a sluttily longer.
No, I just heard she waits. Slut.
Anything else you'd like to?
Got it.
You got it? All right. So that is where we're going to close today's episode.
For brevity, did we collect all our things?
Yeah, I had him go through and pick all the...
I do need pickaxes. I forgot about that.
That we'll have to wait till next time. Yes. That's actually
Make a note going to the blacksmith.
Us to go through all that, or do you just want to?
The blacksmith you will have to go through because I have things for that.
Okay.
He has a special voice made just for that, just to show you up.
I guess.
He is a Russian man.
So we'll spend the next week and a half.
Did you make a list of all the stuff?
Nope.
Okay.
I wrote down all the stuff I got. 30
No,
rations,
not
3
we
tents.
got, but we talked. We're talking like pickaxes.
So it's
2 pickaxes and
Zongak,
2
Ma,
hunting
and Lou
Shovel.
and a shovel.
Going to
are
blacksmith.
going to blacksmith.
Shovel.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I need to get feed.
Man, it feels like this day flew past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Have fun?
Yeah.
All right. Let me close out all my notes here. You guys can all add 100 EXP to your thing.
100 XP?
100. All right, everybody. We are going to be right back. We're going to go down for a second, then we're going to come back up and do our usual talk back. So a couple people got to roll out, and then we'll hang out for another like 30 minutes or so and talk about. We'll answer questions. We'll talk about all manner of things. So we'll go down for just a couple minutes, and we'll be right back up. So hang out with us, and see you in a minute. Oh shit! Hit the wall.
Good job.
My bad.
Her intelligence is so low that she gets extra experience from it. That is not a joke. That is a thing in the game.
All right. All right. So, what'd you guys think?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Dude, it flew by.
Yeah, it went so
Yeah, I felt like it was
fast.
going pretty quick. I'm trying to like not make the fucking taming thing take the whole.
Thank you.
I don't want it to be the whole session because
Yeah.
I have rules for it and I have all the stuff that's supposed to go down. I just don't want to take the whole fucking time doing it.
Yeah, that.
'Cause it's gonna be like,
Like
oh.
that much attention on me for that long period of time. So.
I do.
Said
I like that much attention on you for the whole
said
time.
on
don't.
in character. All right, so at the end of every session we do a talk back. We talk about pretty much anything. Talk about D&D. We talk about video games. Oh fucking motherfucker! I like it.
Monster
What is it?
Hunter, drawings,
Monster Hunter.
dumb stuff,
It's Hamhock.
medical issues.
Can I show
Um,
him up? Or-
Yeah, go ahead. Show it on the thing. So, we talk about D&D stuff. If you have questions about this campaign, if you have questions about the homebrew in the campaign, the world, the characters, anything, if you type an exclamation point class into the chat, it will pull up a list of who's playing what in what order, what characters playing what level they are, things like that. I'm working on getting the rest of it done. A lot of the other, when my computer blew up, I lost a lot of the commands and stuff.
For those of you who didn't know, his computer had a lightning strike inside of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I lost a
It
bunch of
ruined
stuff.
Everything. We lost a lot.
Was that old? Like that stuff from that?
I lost a lot of stuff. Well, multiple times. My computer got wiped and froze and all kinds of shit. Got stuck in an update. So a lot of the stuff has been repeatedly put back in, and we're right now getting around to filling back in the commands. And you guys should have ranks now. If you type in exclamation point souls, you should be able to view what rank you are and how many souls you have. Huso, thanks so much for the
Ew.
you're unranked still. Oh, it's because it says you have 0.42 hours.
Yeah.
The first one's 14 hours, or 4 hours, sorry, which is one and a half episodes. So Huso, thanks so much for the sub, buddy. I sent you a link. He already joined, so he's on the sub Discord. We'll hang out with him. So we missed you, buddy. Hope you enjoyed the bit that you got to watch. Rocco, thanks so much for the drive-by host. No big deal if it was late.
Oh,
I don't mind. Yeah, Kevin's not. Dude, they're all like most of them are gone. I'm telling you.
He saved.
Well,
Dude.
Making fun of my old people voices, huh?
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna start
love your
losing.
old people voices.
I love
I'm
it.
not making fun of them. I just
Oh.
realized it's perfect. It's a city freak.
You know what's funny is I didn't think about that, and then you said it, and I got mad. Fuck. I'm over here thinking I'm clever. Like, oh, well,
Yeah.
the conscripts would be
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, they would this
No, you're
age group would be
clever.
gone.
Yeah, it would be an
And then so
empty.
the only people running the shops are old
Motherfucker.
people.
Though the only NPC I really invested like a whole lot of time in was Griselda, because I liked
Yeah.
the idea of this
Yeah.
like cliche crone, and then be like, yeah, she's just an eccentric old woman.
Whatever.
Yeah. I like
Stays
that.
up late. She's the only one that's like
Dude,
weird.
The ranks should be like jobs you can have in different cities in Prune.
Oh
so
yeah.
like Battalion midwife. That's like a really low
Nice.
level. And like you
I
know
like
what's the L country?
Lorin.
Lorin chimney sweep. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like just, and you work your way through the working ranks, and then you get up to like nobles, and like if you watch long enough before we get there, you can find out like the names of nobles and stuff by your rank.
By your name. Yeah, that'd be
And
good.
that way, and that's like a nice, easy ranking system for you, because then you just pull up your fucking NPC chart and go, all right, we start with garbage people and
Work our way up.
to the king.
Work our way up. I like it. So yeah. So those are the
Or-
commands that are in there now.
Kings and then gods.
The actual gods.
Yeah.
Their true names. Stephen. Rick.
Marcus.
Yes. The god of war. Dan.
Great
We're
Nice.
on a first name basis.
Dan, give me strength.
Maybe we should do that.
Hashtag-
Like a
hashtag
one
Dan,
shot.
give me strength.
Hashtag Dan, give me
It's
strength.
like in whatever language, like Dwarven, it's Dan.
The God of
Also, like, one
Adventures,
these ancient
Kyle.
secrets.
Kyle, god of adventurers. Thanks, Kyle.
That's a terrible god of adventures.
Yeah. So you guys want to do a ghost ship, huh?
Yeah.
I thought you guys might like that. There's gonna be some fun stuff. I have some unique stuff going on for this ghost ship.
Oh.
It's gonna be a mile long and 4 levels deep. So just for Tiffany, and it's gonna go in and out of the darkness.
No, it's just because we got stuck there for so long.
You guys realize you spent an entire episode at a single door, not realizing there were 6 other doors in the room. That I kept trying to be like, hey, there's other doors. Go through these other doors.
No, there was.
We're going through this one, and it didn't open.
I thought you figured out like why we were like that at this point though.
I don't know why you
Dan,
did it
give
like
me
that.
strength.
Hashtag Dan, give me strength.
Just do that for Discord.
But yeah, I like the ship. This is a different ship.
Are you sure?
Stop,
It's
I'm
not so
fine,
crazy.
I'm
Are you?
excited.
You're excited to be on
Yeah,
the
I'm
ghost ship?
fine. You're like, actually, you're gonna get trapped there for 5 episodes. Sorry. My bad.
Maybe.
I don't think it's gonna take
I'll
that
jump
long.
off that ship.
I don't think it'll take that long. I have some fun ideas for this
I'm
ship.
excited.
So
So we're not, or did we decide Beryl said we're not going back with her?
Yeah, no, she said she's good.
Okay.
I asked her in a very pointed way in an awkward conversation, but I think we can trust her.
Trust the dude.
it's an Eevee.
No.
Abra.
No.
It's the monkey.
Some,
It's a Rattata.
It's
It's
a
an
rat thing.
Alolan Rattata.
No, what the fuck?
So it has a mustache.
Did you ever stop?
I just started like 2-3 months ago because my work is a gym.
We had a gym at the Santa Fe.
And then they took it away. They
Yeah.
took. There was
And
3 of
the
them there.
Lizzle shit. Look at this fucking mustache.
Whatever. Fucking Alolan my ass.
Yeah, no, some of them are ugly. The Persian looks like somebody
So how
smashed
did-
his face, erased it, and a kid drew it on a dry erase board.
How did Griffin training go today?
I think it went well. I mean, it's gonna take you about 20-something days to train it, if
Should
it's
I
successful.
keep track of that or no? Because I won't know if I'm successful or not, right?
You won't know if you're successful, but it's gonna take, if 100% success rate, it's gonna take about 20 days to train it. Yours is less. Yours is like.
What about like a traded onyx?
I
Does,
tried
so,
to write.
does he count? Does mom count?
That's
towards
for my
that too?
OG
Like,
Pokemon
not with
players.
with your individual Griffin. Like, do you?
It's individuals.
Yeah,
They
so-
each have to be done individually.
Okay, yeah.
In order to get it to work.
Mine's a pit.
You have to get to so many successes before you get to so many failures.
Does he like? Did it help though that he like that other Griffin was there and chilling with us? Like, did that help him at all with training that one? No.
No, it's gonna be completely separate.
Would it have helped me if I had gone to it? No. Okay.
Completely separate.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't know.
but it's gonna take a bit. It's gonna take
Yeah.
a while. If you guys decide to stay in town for an extended period of time, like do it like a downtime thing,
Yeah.
you might be able to get.
Okay. That'd be
You could
cool.
actually make it like.
So we're just gonna chill for a
full-time
minute, right,
thing.
before we go back.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Cool.
here dealing with the ghost
I'm gonna
ship
swim.
and fucking around.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it might be a horrible, disgusting port, by the way.
I'll find
It's a
out.
port. I'm just letting you
There's
know.
gotta
There
be
might
like
be there might be a lot of sewage. They might
They're
rock
also-
all
What was
poop into there.
how was the town?
You know, like.
What do you mean?
Like
What about-
cleanliness wise?
It looks old and weathered and looks like it's. There doesn't seem to be any poop in the streets. They have a sewer system and it's actually quite advanced.
No, because it got really.
You would have seen like little like ports leading into it, you know, kind of like grates and stuff like that. But they actually have like plumbing in a way.
So it doesn't lead out to the sea.
No, they have a very complicated sewer system.
I mean,
Sexy.
that's awesome. I don't care.
Sexy. Let's talk about something that's sexy. Sewer systems.
Proper sewage maintenance.
Well, no, it was just my thought was okay. The town looks it's old as dicks,
Yeah.
but it looks nice. Port's probably not going to be
It looks
that far
okay,
from.
I would say,
Yeah.
because like the buildings are beat up, old and weathered,
But it's
splintered
not
and
like
stuff.
because of. It's because like they've had a lot of shit happen to them, the weather and shit, right? It's not because like they don't care, right?
No, you don't get that sense. It's just that it's just not doesn't
So
look that
would
nice.
the port be more well maintained?
Probably less.
Less well maintained? Okay. Is that like the only reason the city's here is because of the port?
No, the city was here before because it's a nice location.
And it's defensible.
Back in the day,
Motherfucker.
somebody was like, "This is a pretty spot.
Like,
I'm gonna make my
is
fucking
that what's
home here."
keeping the town running is the port, or?
No, the town's self-sufficient.
That's
Galloren's
okay.
Galloren's been around longer than the formation of the continent of Alabra.
Oh shit.
And so it's roughly 2,000 something years old. The city itself. It is an ancient city.
With ancient ghost pirates.
You could ask what's his face about that.
Who?
Bellend?
Belvin.
You could ask Balvin about the city because it's an old city
Bellend.
and its people.
His name means penis.
His name means penis. Thank you.
Bellend.
Thank you. I know. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, this. I mean, the Duke told you that his sister used to be the queen of Alabra.
So she was full elf or half?
No, she was human.
Oh. Because I remember the old king, wasn't he?
He was an elf,
Yeah.
and his second wife was human. That was the one that you met, who just went missing one day. I don't know if you remember the old game. The old game, she was there, and no one took over, and no one knew where she went. And no one fucking brought it up again.
Yeah.
That she just missed. Just is like not there anymore. Nobody was like, hey, why isn't the queen running the city? And at first they said, oh, because she's distraught. Her
Wait, is that
husband.
his sister?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the Duke's sister. Yeah.
And she runs part of, like, some part
She's
of
gone.
Galloren now?
She's fucking
I thought
missing.
he said, like, she
He
runs
said she
somewhere.
was the queen. She used to be the queen.
Yeah, but he said, like, something about, like, so I have enough power, like, she...
Yeah, he says he has enough power. He doesn't. He's the highest ranking Duke, which means he's second only to the king.
What about,
In terms of rankage, he's right below Noah.
What about, the Duke of Corness? I thought he was higher.
The Duke of Coroness is the greatest military might in the kingdom. Is Fort Coroness, which is where Matthias Seville lives. He is the most accomplished general in Alavra. Duke Kellington is the greatest tactician Alavra has ever known. He is a very calculating individual who is
But they're
very
not
good
on
at
par.
planning.
He's
The
better.
Duke of Kellington is above Matthias.
Oh.
So in if they were together on the battlefield, Kellington would get command of the order.
And he's better at that stuff than... Well, what makes him a better general than... Or what makes the other guy a better general than Kellen?
Kellington's a strategic general, not a fighting one.
Oh, the other one's just good
Matthias
at
will fight on the front lines with his people.
Okay.
And he does. He still does. So if his people are tired and weary, he will join the battlefield to rally
So
them,
he's, like, good at crushing stuff, and then the other
Kellington's
guy's good
good
at planning how to crush
Yes.
stuff.
making the tactical decisions. Yes.
And so imagine
Stay
one guy's
positive.
really good at leading a similarly sized army against a similarly sized army, he would win. But the other guy's better at taking a smaller army and leading against a bigger army and coming out on top.
Fucking shit up. Yeah.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Well, you did see the lightning fuck.
Yeah, the lightning strike that he
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of
I
his
mean,
attacks. Yeah.
it's just like-
Also, it's a difference in like what they put their priorities in. Kellington is a big dude only because he literally works out. That wasn't a joke.
I
That's
got
actually
that.
what he does.
Yeah.
Because he's hyper intelligent, and so they kept referencing that he was a beanpole like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's because he's been
Trust that.
he's been studying, and he basically was like, hey, workers are usually built because they work all day.
Did he?
I don't work all day.
So,
So
I'm going
he-
to work for a couple hours.
So he works
Actually-
out. He actually works out,
As we're
Sitting
heading
there with
out-
a dumbbell just reading.
but he
No,
doesn't fight.
Imagine
so
as we're
it's-
heading out of the city, he's like, I have this training program. I call it.
so he works out, but he
For a low
doesn't. He
price.
doesn't
Yeah,
fight.
exactly.
$3
It's
gold
just-
a day.
Yeah,
So as far as like
$3.
fisticuffs, he doesn't really hold his own. He's like more
It's
of
all
a.
like K90X. Here you go.
So that's how he's so big.
You can give me a bunch of money.
Exactly. Like,
Am I
what?
the only
If
one that
you
has
see the
lizard
book,
man
like, just
stuff?
got, like, the meal plan
Lizard man
and
stuff, like stuff from them.
Yeah.
Meat.
Yeah.
Meat.
Vegetables.
Meat.
Like their item.
Meat. Vegetables.
Rest
Meat.
one cheat
Vegetables.
day.
Yeah,
You can
that's
have bread.
pretty much what he's done. He's invented working out. That's kind of his thing.
Nice.
He works out twice a day. That's why when you first walked in, he was kind of like tired. He worked out in the morning, and then he works out in the afternoon.
I'll sell you my brand of protein shake too.
Comes in rabbit stew flavor.
Full shark testosterone.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. That's funny.
I'm still waiting for the tabaxi. That's
Yo, hey, what are you doing? Hey, bro, you want to do
I'm
this?
glad that you didn't make him like a traditional meathead though. Like.
No, it's the opposite. He's a hyper intelligent person who was like, wait a minute,
I don't get
I'm
any
gonna.
respect because I look like a whipcord child.
So I'm gonna. Yeah. So now he's physically intimidating because he was tall to begin with, but now he's actually physically intimidating, which kind of matches in with his like tactical sort of. So now when he's on the battlefield, people don't look at him like weird. They're like,
so he
oh,
doesn't
yeah.
go into a magical girl outfit. Say tactical decision.
Tactical
Yeah.
decision.
Tactical
Dang
decision.
My whole dream is
Going.
Shattered. My illusion has been shattered. Yeah, all of the dukes have their benefits. They're what they're good at and stuff. But that's just because there's plenty of Elaborate heroes, but those are just the ones that are famous.
Before the end of this game, I will go to Sin Hollow.
You want to go visit Duke DeClaire?
Yeah.
I'm talking about his face.
About his fucked up face.
I'll see
in
more
the history of Alavra,
Says, do not talk to
Yeah.
him.
there used to be a heavy orc tribe in the
Oh,
mountains.
no, are you telling us about his face?
No,
Okay.
I'm just talking in general in the history of Alavra. Like there was a heavy orc presence. That was a war that broke out. Originally, the whole continent was owned by humans until 2,000 years ago, the humans started to push outwards, and the Kellington family was one of the original bigger, basically one of the bigger front runners to become king or queen. And then the Lady Alavra from the coastal elven tribe that resided in Batella was smashed. They were destroyed and scattered. And she basically turned around and she became, they call the warrior queen, where she rallied the other tribes of elves and basically like kind of like made her way back and fought the humans. No, not yet. This is this is like 2,000 years before.
This is Lady Alavra.
Yeah, Lady Alavra, like the actual queen, the one who started the whole thing. The warrior queen, the Valkyrie, they have all kinds of names for her. But she kind of like what is it called? She united the elven tribes and basically fought back. Shit on the humans because they have the humans didn't have magic or anything. The elves are naturally inclined for that stuff. So she ultimately took over, but then due to the population difference when they reintegrated, basically the elves slowly phased out. Like just from breeding and stuff, they just slowly disappeared. So the last like few true elves are the elves of Cyrodiil, which are sea elves. And then like the remnants that are scattered throughout, but there's no like.
And Ellie.
Well, no, in this city.
Oh, gotcha.
Like they basically bred themselves out over the last 2,000 years, and now they're just not. So a lot of people in the city can trace their ancestry back there, but it's so minute that it's not even.
They're not quite half elves. They're 1/16 elf.
It would even probably be less than that by now.
Really?
Yeah. And so the last true elf was the previous king, the Mad King, who went crazy, and then he was assassinated. So now.
What?
He done got assassinated.
You were there for that, right?
You don't remember that. Yeah. You guys were there for that. But yeah, so and now Noah is a half elf. He is currently in charge, and his wife is an elf, but that's only because she's from Dammon. So.
God damn it.
Yeah, damn it. But yeah, so that is a brief history lesson of the continent.
There.
Maybe someday we'll do a one shot in like the past or some shit. Just back in the day. Back in the day.
Somebody's changing history.
Right?
Damn it.
Hey, that'd be fun. I like fucking. You want me to bring Avon in? Save the day? He doesn't do things.
Just kicks open the chimney.
I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the on the ghost ship he created the chimney and then fell out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And he was like, I missed it. I was so close, but then I missed the chimney.
I'm just expecting like a chimney with a doorknob, and he just goes.
Open
Hey guys.
the chimney.
Hey, what's up?
You just hear.
Sorry, I didn't want to come down it. It's always dirty and it makes me cough.
You gotta crouch.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable.
Also, last time I landed on my shoulder, and it's
still sore.
You ever been stuck in one of those? Ugh. Talk about a nightmare.
How about that for a fucking Frozen Moon one shot? It's like you guys going through and you're expecting something and it turns out he just got stuck, so he never got to come get you. Like he's actually still in it. He's like, hey. Whole one shot. You guys are just enjoying the festival and you just hear somebody going, hey.
And then at the end he's like, all right.
Ah, fuck. You know, I forget I have magic sometimes. Sometimes I just do things and I don't think about things. That sounds terrible. Why didn't you show up this Christmas? Well, I looked into the future and I saw that it was going to be uncomfortable for me, so I just didn't come. Like, I just rewrote it. Yeah, no, not doing it. But yeah.
Also, I lost a slipper.
Still don't know where it is. I think I lost it in time, so it's just somewhere.
Just floating.
Right? In between reality. Like, just like, well, fuck. So yeah. You guys got a brief history of Alavra and a little bit of Avon shenanigans.
Yeah. Alright, looks like our chat's dead.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Which is alright.
We are going to be, we will see you next time. On Monday, we'll be back for Monster Hunter Monday, and then Tuesday, we'll be back for the main campaign, the continuation, the Ghost Ship Exploration. Okay. I love all of you. Thanks so much for the hosts and the subs and the follows and the joining us in chat. I hope you guys had fun. We will see you next time. Bye. Boop. Let me run away real quick. Whoa.